for Jitsu. Yeah!
Jitsu, Skeletor, Strider, and He-Man figures each sold separately.
Gotcha this time, He-Man! Oh yeah! Now, Mighty Strider, charge! Yow! Way to go, Strider!
Strider and Jitsu, new from the Masters of the Universe collection, each sold separately. Other action figures also sold separately. From Mattel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Master Powercast. Jitsu is going to be under the lights for our character spotlight tonight. We got a lot of stuff to cover. James is here, so go grab your favorite snack, get settled in, get comfortable, and join us for this ride as we do a deep dive on the evil master of martial arts. Gentlemen, Jitsu. First things first, we're going to start kind of vintage figure-ish. We're just going to go down through the timeline. I want to get James's thoughts first because Tyler, of course, and myself, as this line's going on, Jitsu comes out Wave 3, 1984. We're just not even alive or about to be. So, so James, you saw Jitsu first. any original thoughts, young memories of Mr. Etok discovering Jitsu for the first time?
Oh my goodness, yeah. Like I think I said the other day. Well, no, I won't get to that bit yet. So, yeah, like I've told the story before about how I went into the toy store and that I think that third wave where it was Battle Armor He-Man and Mechanic and Fisto and just all the Clawful, Cobra Khan, all these characters. I remember looking at that card back and thinking like, oh my God, like what's the toy line's going in a new direction. This is all because the artwork as well, the artwork which we think is by William George on the back looked different in terms of the cross-sell artwork. So I was like, wow. But Jitsu, as we most famously know, was not on the cross-sell artwork at all, like on any of the figures. You don't see him on the back of any action figures. It's only, I think it's one vehicle. You see the Jitsu cross-sell artwork. So I'm thinking like, wow, I want to see what other figures are around. And I remember like one kid coming into school. So Jitsu obviously wasn't on the shelf. And he came in with what I actually genuinely thought was Mr. T in the Masters of the Universe toy line, because there was this dark-skinned guy with a Mohican and a beard, and I was like, is that Mr. T? Obviously, it wasn't Mr. T, but I was like, they brought Mr. T into Masters of the Universe. And then my kind of like next memory was how Toy Store was so cool because they had randomly on the pegs where all these like Masters of the Universe figures were. They had the catalog pages, which usually weren't publicly available. So I kind of would look at the catalog page. I got them down. I was like, oh my God. And it was that prototype that you see of Jitsu. If you call that up, yeah. That first image, that was like, I'd seen the toy, but then I saw this and I was like, I want this figure because he's got webbed feet. And he looks really, I was obsessed with this image. Like if you go back to the earliest days, I don't know if the messages are still there, but I used to go on about certain things that I hadn't seen in decades. And one of them was, does anyone remember an image of this is on early days of the He-Man and She-Ra community. I was like, does anyone remember this image of Jitsu with like webbed feet? I said, it was in a catalogue and I've never said, and then I think it was like 3 years into the community, Emiliano turns up with his website, Emiliano Santalicia, and he had the image on his website. And I was like, oh, there it is. There's the Jitsu prototype. And that's Emiliano's scan as well. It's like such a gorgeous image. I just, for some reason, I love that. The prototype is like rough around the edges because it's all like, like clay and painted, and it probably fell apart within a year or so of this being made.
Just looking at his chopping hand alone, like you can it's a work in progress. Yeah.
There's another, isn't there? I don't know if Nathan's got it, where you see his arm raised, and I think it's the same prototype figure, and you see. Yeah, and if you look at his hand, I think he's got a normal hand inside that, or like going up into the glove. You can almost see you can see like the original, like a standard arm, as it were. So yeah, I was really fascinated by the prototype. But yeah, the moment I saw Jitsu and then eventually seeing the figure and the cross-sell artwork by Earl McCarthy on the back, I was like, oh, this figure's just awesome. And it was such a wonderful parallel with Fisto. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm going off on it just Clash of Arms changed everything. It was just like, wow.
James, you're jumping ahead. Tyler, I want to get your memories. Jitsu.
Oh my god, dude! I have got a history with this figure, and
History.
I wouldn't own the figure till 5th grade, but I saw him in Clash of Arms Christmas of '87. Didn't know his name. I just like, oh my god, who is this, and who's the claw guy that in web store. Like I
Wow.
was just, oh my god, like who are these guys? And in daycare, one of the older kids, his name was Ben King, had the
That's a
Jitsu
great
Night
name.
Stalker and was playing with them in the room where all the kids are dropped off, and you're watching, Nickelodeon at 6 in the morning on this big wooden box TV. He's over there by the TV playing with Jitsu and Night Stalker. That was my first time seeing him in person. I just sat there like from a distance and just kind of watched.
Just admired.
I was in awe. Oh my god, he's got that He-Man figure I really want. And what is that horse? And his younger brother, years later, when I was in 1st grade, brought that same Jitsu Night Stalker combo to a PTO meeting when I was in 1st grade in the evening. It was sitting by his mom playing with him. During the PTO meeting, I'm sitting from a distance and I see it and I just sit there and I'm just watching. And I'm so wanting to, like, when it's over, burst through the crowd and ask this little kid, "Hey, can I have those?
Just, I want your figures. Yeah.
I want your toys. Like, you don't even know what it is." And then when I was trading current action figures for He-Man figures, one of my go-tos was a kid named Jamie Taylor, and he knew I liked He-Man. I said, "Do you happen to have Jitsu?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I got that." So I can't remember what I traded him, but I traded him a current action figure to get Jitsu. Didn't have his katana sword, but he was the one I have is the one I got for a trade in 5th grade. And I was just obsessed with that character. I just remember him and Clawful. I thought, you don't get any more badass than these two. I mean, I had such a strong connection to Jitsu growing up. I just, when I look at the back of the mini comics and you see like a list of characters, there's not pictures, just like 6 crossed over.
Yeah.
And I would see his name and I just become fixated. His name. Someone said his name. His name is featured here. And I just would light up anytime I'd see him, just with the Rock Warriors, the Dragon Invasion. I lost my shit because I had no idea he was in the cartoon. And I was like, it's Jitsu. And I've always celebrated this character. I think he's one of the most unsung characters in the mythology, much like many of them. But I cannot express how much love I have for this character, that this guy just embodied badass before I even knew what badass was as a kid. I just thought he was so fucking cool. And still this day, he's hard to beat, in terms of like, I just love his simple design. If I keep going here, I'm just going to just keep saying the same thing over and over again. Because
Great color scheme too, like
Yeah.
a
the
good
gold,
contrast of
the
colors.
tan skin,
Yeah,
the very menacing, the distinguished face, and the small ponytail in the back there. And I hate that people just kind of shied away a bit because he's Asian and he's a bad guy. And I never, I'm sure all of us can say that. Like, I didn't look at like, okay, well, all Asian people are bad. Like, I just never thought that. I just like, he's a badass.
Yeah,
That's all I see. Is this guy's
like,
cool.
What an awesome character.
Yeah.
What about you, Nathan? What was your kind of first?
I mean, honestly, most of the time it was just seeing the figure missing accessories, missing the chest armor.
Oh wow!
At yard sales and flea markets.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this a bunch of times that most of my experience with Masters Universe as a younger kid, I'm talking, it was because Tyler's he's talking 87, 88. So we're talking 3-4 years old here. And my experience was just mostly hand-me-down stuff and a handful of things that a couple, like the slime pit was definitely something that really stuck out to me as a kid. But other than hand-me-downs and occasionally seeing some of this stuff at yard sales and flea markets, it wasn't, I kind of almost missed it pretty much because at that point it's like Turtles. It was all about Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So for me it was just you could never find this guy complete. Is how I kind of looked at him. It's like, oh, there's more to him than just the loincloth and his hand. I'm like, oh, he comes with a katana. Oh, he's actually got chest armor. Oh, how about that? So yeah, my experience very minimal compared to the two of you, which is James. Honestly, that's when you messaged me earlier today, and you're like, actually, I'd love to be a part of that. I was like, fantastic, because it's good to get more of your perspective and history, because I can ask Tyler about it, and then when you get to me, it's like it's not not up to snuff, you know.
Yeah, that image. I always loved this location as well. The Errol
Me
McCarthy illustrated. I don't know why in my brain, even though it's clearly not. I remember when I saw it as a kid, I thought it was like a back entrance to Castle Grayskull or something.
I can see that. Yeah.
But it kind of doesn't make sense that it's like wide open. That's not wide open. That's a cloud. That's like the sunset behind, isn't it? I think. Yeah. So it could be some ruins or something. But regardless, just the pose and everything, it was just. There's something really awesome about that. You know, we sung the praises of Errol McCarthy numerous times, but yeah, He-Man's sort of like, oh crap, and it's that it feels like one of Errol McCarthy's like wave one kind of card arts as well. It's He-Man's got that elderly face that he used to love drawing.
Yes. And there's something about when Errol draws, because I also, it's this one, and I think of the Blade card back. You know, because it has like that lower ground dungeon area that Blade's fighting Tila and Manors. But it makes me think of this exterior of some kind of random castle. Don't know what it is, but Jitsu is accompanying Skeletor, and He-Man's trying to stop him, and it's just, this tells a story. What kind of castle is this? Where are we at here? What is Skeletor trying to keep He-Man from getting to? And it's such a simple design, but fuck, it's so impactful.
Well, I just like Jitsu taking a swipe, and He-Man's blocking it with his shield. It's just a really cool visual. But like
very dynamic poses.
I was gonna say, how exciting though to just have that many characters on the back. It's like, holy shit! Man. You just pick that up, turn around, and look at it, and just figure out who else you're missing from the line.
Like I say, when I first discovered that next wave, or this wave, was when I saw the Whiplash card back, and I was like, who are these? Like, Mechanic freaked me out. Mechanic was the one where I thought, oh, this is like a space age version of Master Universe. I couldn't figure it out, and it was just, really baffling. But yeah, the fact that Jitsu never got the cross-sell artwork is so weird. Or it was never used, I should say.
Yeah, and I it makes you just wondering, because I just always assume, because I remember Michael Reeves had mentioned that, is there a concern that this character is Asian? So I just naturally assumed that going forward, someone decided, you know what, maybe this isn't a good idea to promote this character that much, which is why I felt like he was used so sparingly in the media.
But at the same time, later you get Ninja, so it's like, what? I mean, like, I highly doubt Mattel would have said, well, let's rein back on this, but a couple of waves later, here's an Asian baddie. I guess he just got
lost in the mix. Like they couldn't promote the hell out of everybody, and for whatever reason, I guess he just wasn't used as much. And why Filmation decided to drop him after one episode?
It's weird. I think that's a mixture of things. It often gets we'll get there obviously, but it often goes down to the an Asian stereotype. But I think there's a little bit more to it than that. But it's nice to see that original, the black and white.
Yeah, the black and white, man, it really pops. Like,
it
looks great like this, man. But I mean, the black and white, there's something about that too.
Yeah,
I just love the aggression in Jitsu's face there, like, and I love that He-Man's pulling in, like it's just a very impactful chop that he's blocking, and that's some beautiful cross-sell artwork.
That's the thing. I think I told you guys before. When I was a kid, I'd get the card backs and I'd cut out all the little
the cross-sell artwork.
Yeah, and then I'd line them all up, so I'd have I could see how many and who, all the
I
heroes.
Love that. I wish I'd have done that.
But that was when I discovered very early on. I was like, where's Jitsu? And then I remember being in the toy shop and seeing, I feel like it was not Land Shark. It wasn't Roton. It was one of the vehicles or one of the. It was not on a figure. It was never on a back of a figure, but it was like a vehicle, and you see all the villains and the heroes, and you saw the cross sell of Jitsu. I was like, there it is. But I can't remember what vehicle it was on.
Yeah, I forgot if this was a JCPenney exclusive, which I feel like a lot of these were these 2-packs, which I guess they didn't have an actual packaging. Like it was just you have the artwork on the front, and then you open the box, and the 2 figures are there.
Yeah, I would have just kind of. It seems sort of based off of how this box is laid out. It seems like it's one of the flaps that you would open up here, and then the top would open up. and then the figures would be inside. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Which
the vibe
I
that
wonder
I
if
got
those
from
came with mini comics, which
I don't-
they're featured in the same mini comic. But I wonder if they came with, because a lot of
I
the
don't know.
multi packs didn't come with mini comics. In fact, none of them did.
I find it bizarre that I wonder if this is the case that quite a lot of the time Jitsu would be packaged with secret liquid of life, and I kept thinking to myself,
Yeah.
did they think that Geldor was Jitsu or something?
It makes you want. Of course, my Jitsu's got Clash of Arms as well, but my Whiplash has secret liquid of life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That is weird.
Here is
Oh my God.
Tyler's holy grail of toys right
More
here.
than anything else in this line was that damn 2-pack, and I'm thankful at least I saw it once in person, just one time in packaging.
I mean,
And
do you have the eBay search saved, right? So if anything pops up, you'll get a notification.
It's so hard
man.
to find it though, because even when you put in multiple Jitsu Night Stalker 2-pack, Jitsu Night Stalker, Master of the Universe, you would just get, singles, and occasionally you'll find, because I've had someone send me links, but it was either way too much, and it was all beat to shit to the point where it's like I'm paying $600 for something that's not even,
yeah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. But I just feel like one of these days, I hope to God I will get to own that and put that proudly on display, and just just realize a true childhood fantasy of owning that in hand. But it's amazing, and James can attest to that too. These multi-packs, the 2-packs, 3-packs, they are some of the most sought after and vastly expensive items in the entire line.
Yeah.
Is it strictly just because not a lot of them were made, but also too not a lot of people kept the packaging and kept them
too,
in
yeah.
I think it's a mixture of I think there's the third factor. There's less numbers produced, like you say, packaging, and also packaging easily damaged.
True.
Because of the big window. It's like so easy to, it wasn't sturdy. That stuff could easily tear and yellow. And another factor is not every country got the 2-packs. Like we didn't get every 2-pack over or every gift set or whatever. And even if we did, it was really limited numbers. So, how many of these have actually survived is probably a scary thought, to be honest.
Yeah. It's honestly amazing that people have been able to find the samples that we got of the various gift sets that came out, because there were so many of them. God, this is amazing. I wish I had this as a poster.
Is that the one where Fisto's got like a nice little earring?
Yeah, which I always thought was a nice nod that they gave him an earring.
It felt very almost like piratey kind of thing.
Yeah, I thought it was very appropriate for the character. But to see what appears to be like another moon or a planet way in the background, and that rocky, windy terrain down there at the bottom, they're like right behind Jitsu, leading to someplace. I love those details of these windy, dangerous, rocky roads that you could just fall off the edge because that's how treacherous and dangerous it is. Just little details to add, textures of the environment, and I just love it so much.
There you go, little advert for the deluxe set.
Yeah, new for 85.
Look at that.
God. Best year for the property. Yeah, I was thrilled when I got my Battle Bones and I saw Jitsu was on there. I was like,
he's on the packaging, isn't he?
Yeah, not much, but it was so cool to see him.
I mean, it's so great that Tyler just would appreciate just little small things like that. It's like, oh, there's Jitsu on the packaging.
I can't stress it. I was so desperate to see him and Clawful a lot, and it was a big deal to see that, and to see that for the first time, that was a big damn deal too.
Would these have been strictly printed on pajamas, or would they have also used this
T-shirts, pajamas,
underwear? Would this?
No,
maybe.
I don't think. I think it was pretty much just. It was gonna be like tops, like boys' tops, shirts, sweatshirts, pajama tops, that kind of thing.
Because I don't think I saw a majority of those Errol McCarthy pieces for T-shirts and stuff until we got in touch with Errol McCarthy, the Power and the Honor Foundation. And I was just like, oh wow, he's got all this artwork, and there was all this like T-shirt. I was like, what's this stuff for? And that's where I'd never seen that stuff before, really.
I had to do a bunch of Google searches. I mean, I know you guys have showcased a lot of it, but doing some Google searches, I'd find some like the scuba attack of He-Man fighting Squeeze like underwater, and movie He-Man fighting Ninja. I'm like, oh my god,
movie He-Man, that's a crazy one.
Yeah, that was like unbelievable. It was just amazing. All these years later, still digging up stuff I had never seen before.
I mean, there's probably still stuff that's out there that
Oh, I
neither
have
one
no
of
doubt
you
there
has
is.
paid for.
Oh, there'll always be. There's like, you know, not to get into the tangent, but like I know of 2 series Bibles that for Master Universe that are in someone's possession, but they have yet to be
Like 2 of the same, or like 2 different ones?
2 different ones. One written by
Seriously?
Tom Ruger, who was the guy behind Animaniacs and wrote the Cosmic Comet. He wrote the first draft of the series Bible. Then you had Flint Dilley of Transformers fame start work on a series Bible, and I was like, I want to see those.
Wait. So we have the one that Michael Halpin wrote.
You got Michael Halperin's, but Robbie London's, excuse me, seems to be written at the same time. I've never been able to figure out the timeline because Robbie said I didn't work from anything. You know, I came up with that stuff. So I think there was something where I don't know what was happening, but yeah. And then prior to Robbie London working on Master Universe, it was Tom. I think it was Tom Ruger, then Flint Dilley, then Robbie London. Yeah.
Holy shit! I had no idea there was that many.
Yeah.
Why wasn't I told about this? Who's in charge?
It's Tyler. It's on the He-Man video I made 2 years ago.
Yeah, the video I support with my money.
Yeah. No. I'm just saying it's right there. That information.
I feel like such an asshole.
I'll send you a link to it. Don't worry. It was a lot. It was a lot
Sure
to process.
Here's
I'm a taxpayer. I should have my ass kissed.
here's more
I feel bad
Jitsu,
now.
the Jitsu appearing.
Well, I think I feel worse
other art.
because I know I watched it and I had no memory of it.
Tyler, I think between that and then an instance last week, I think that steel trap brain that you have is starting to melt away.
I just have my moments. I just saying burn. I just like trying to say the Ninja Turtles, April O'Neil's boss. I just like farted and just it was a big windy fart in my brain.
But you also mentioned I think it was off air that you mentioned that there were comics that you would buy and you get them in. You're like, I already have this.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
See, it's just part of getting old, man.
It has nothing to do with my trivia at Master of the Universe and Turtles and GI Joe and so on and so forth.
Okay.
I got so many books and I really don't.
I mean, but Tyler, if that had nothing to do with your trivia of Master of the Universe, then you would have known that there was all these series Bibles that were out and about, right? See?
I'm not on trial here.
Well, here you go, Tyler.
I'm sorry, James just throws this stuff out all over the place. It assumes everyone heard it.
In fairness to Tyler, I do put a lot of information out there. But look, it's Webster and Jitsu.
And I love his trying to pose like, fuck yeah.
Webster looks. Do you know what? Like looking at Webster, though, it almost reminds me of like that early version where he was, known as Black Widow. He's like really dark.
Yeah, he does.
He looks really dark there, Webster.
And they look cool together, like
really
in the Rock Wars. Like they're a cool duo, like to work together. They just look visually striking together. Oh boy. Here we go. Greatest piece of American literature ever created.
Christy Marks.
I don't know if we ever had the opportunity to talk to her, would she be able to talk to us at all about this, you think?
I don't know, because obviously, like, you got to think that she at the time she was writing for Marvel Productions, Gem, developing all this stuff. It's like, with all due respect to this mini comic, this was probably like, oh yeah, Marcinus, I'll knock out a story. I'm not saying.
Maybe you just ask her before. Could you just bullshit for us for a little bit, make it sound like you know what you're talking about?
Can you pretend like give us an anecdote? Just pretend.
Give us anything. Give us like I was in the bathroom one day when I realized why I was destined for greatness. So I wrote Flash of Arms.
Exactly. So I love this mini comic and this panel. Oh my god! Because obviously I've said before, I think this is the most heavily printed mini comic.
By far.
It's because obviously it came with so many figures, and everywhere you look, it was. I bet if you went on eBay now and typed in Clash of Arms, you'd be able to find like 100 copies or something. Because I think it must have been printed in the hundreds of thousands. I genuinely believe that, if not more. And I always had so many, so I would cut them up and like put this panel of like them clashing the one of Fisto punching cloth. It's just, Larry Houston was on fire with this mini comic.
Yeah, this is
So
by far his
good.
best work. Not just because it's a personal favorite, but I just look at the maturity of these characters. There's nothing cartoonish about any of
No.
these characters. I mean, everything. He was so good at doing dynamic poses for
He
attacks.
was clearly like he was a big fan of John Buscema, so it's obviously it's evident. Like look at the blooming Dutch tilt kind of thing.
And just the panel layout, like
the panels are very the panels are like very Neil Adams. Like Neil Adams, if you look at his Neil Adams Batman work in the 70s, my God, his use of panels is astonishing. But I always like that first panel where you see him in the background all running up.
Man, I loved that as a kid. I just thought, oh my God, here they come together like it's this unit, and Clawful's leading the way, and Jitsu just goes right into action.
It's funny because if you look at that, Webster to me looks like a giant because he's at the back.
Yeah, he's towering over, but it looks like Jitsu and Clawful are kind of hunched over a little bit.
They're hunched over running, but it's like it's such an awesome panel. It's like, oh, here they come, and Fisto's like, oh, I've got a bit of brush to get rid of mine.
Shit.
Hey, we got to showcase it. Jitsu's down there at the bottom.
Yeah, and to think that was his. And I as much as we have trashed this one, I would love to ask, where was your logic in this battle sequence here?
Sikowski's artwork is so strange. Like it really is. I wish the guy was like.
Polite.
But it really is. Like you look at his stuff, back in the day, and it was astonishingly good. And then these mini comics, it was. Well, I mean, they've said in the interview, was it Lee Nordling, the editor, said we just went, well, these are different, but I mean, let's do it,
What? So he addressed like this oddity here,
it said like the Leech one and the Mantenna one. It was just like he said they were just very, very unique, and it's I mean, I think he means not in a horrible way, just like wow, this isn't Larry Houston or Bruce Timm or anyone else. This is a classic DC comic artist, but I don't think. I almost feel like he didn't really know what he was doing because I've told you before, I've got that Horde-bot mini comic that he got like 3/4 of the way through, and when you look at the unfinished pages, they're kind of very rough, so you get to see what he. And there's one pose where He-Man's like got his sword up, and He-Man's doing the splits, but it's like if I was 5 years old trying to draw He-Man doing the splits, it doesn't make any sense. It's He-Man's legs are just going out either side, and it's really bizarre. I'm going to draw it now.
I almost didn't include this image because this is very blink and you miss it kind of thing, but
but even just the way he's like Rain Man's like hitting Jitsu as he's like already on the ground, or I know he's trying to convey, but it's just so poorly executed.
Yeah,
it was like that. That's what can you see that?
Oh my God.
That's what the art, like the rough illustration looks like. I was like, that doesn't make sense. And then you get an image like this.
Back to business now.
It's like this is how you do a battle,
And the poses. And as a kid, I was Team Skeletor. Oh. I was all about Skeletor's boys defeating the Horde. I did not like seeing any of these guys get an upper hand on any of the evil warriors.
That's such an underrated Whiplash pose as well.
Oh my God! Is it
so
ever?
Good.
It's amazing.
It's just like leaning into
the thrusting of his arms, like is he's like slinging his tail around and just curled up, and you can just hear the impact of Grizzler blocking it with his forearm. And just that lineup of I figured Nathan had the shot where Leech was attacking Jitsu. Says not a chance, beast breath.
No, sorry,
you let me down. It's the worst podcast ever. Yeah, I was so pumped when I checked this out at my library when I was in 5th grade. Like, oh my God, like Jitsu and Webster teamed up.
I've just noticed how comical Webster's face is on that.
Well, yeah,
he looks a bit like Bart Simpson.
I didn't notice, but as I got older, like it's not the most polished.
No. It's obviously Fred Carrillo doing the artwork.
And he always does a great job. But
really fantastic. But I think sometimes like maybe the editing wasn't. They weren't really looking at it too well. But like I love this panel.
Yeah, this is great.
Page.
Like. And
Webster
looks really good, and just knowing that Buzz Off and Man at Arms have to take on Jitsu together, like I
like the way Webster has his hook like a weapon kind of thing. It's like I'm gonna hit you with my hook. So,
Which I could
okay.
totally see him using it as
Oh, yeah,
a blunt
yeah.
object to smack the hell out of people.
What book's this from? Which one's this?
Demons of the Deep, which I never had the book. I had the Golden Book VHS, which had the the slightly animated versions of this story, and that's how
Oh,
I
yeah,
knew Jitsu
yeah.
was in this story. Like, oh, whoa,
Wow.
Really
Yeah,
digging the computer right here. with
computer's
this
awesome.
skull on
Very
top.
cool looking.
they've done that. That's really interesting because, yeah, that's like the skull computer. The Skeletor has one in the Filmation cartoon, and
I always think of the seismograph he has in Daemon of the Demon.
yeah,
so shit all over.
Yeah, it's a terrible episode.
Yeah.
There's a better look.
James is full of bollocks. There's another cool shot of it there too. I just, and I love it because in that story, like Skeletor has like his own version of Council Grayskull underwater, and
Oh wow! I don't think I've ever read this story.
yeah, it's. I'm not going to say because it has a great premise. Like there's, they get attacked by this, demon from this sea monster, and turns out it's a robot though.
Spoiler! Come on.
Well, I'm just saying, like when you kind of learn, they're like, oh man, it's not real, but
save you the disappointment.
Wow! Look at Fisto punching Jits on the side of the head.
Yeah,
that's gotta hurt like hell.
Yeah. Oh, Ratman's having a go. Yeah.
But it's good to make sure everyone's included in the battle. Like the good guys are getting the upper hand, but everyone's included in this fight.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
There's a piece that James sent to me.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen this one before though.
This is from those. I used to own them. I don't own them anymore.
Is this from that book?
Yeah, the big golden one.
Yeah, I didn't know this was in there though, because I know there's one of him chopping like the battle ram or the sky sled.
Yeah, that's in the next thing.
And this one, man, I had not seen that before though.
Yeah, they're really nice because, like, if you look at the design, it's blatantly Fred Carrillo going by the character model sheet because it's 100% the Filmation look with the boots and the top. Although he's given him like two of those things going across, it almost looks like he's got buttons, as it were.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of misunderstood the design there, but. Yeah, it was I think it's called like the Giant Picture Book, and one was heroes, one was villains. And I scanned all the pages for my blog years ago, like huge scans, and then sold the book. So I was like,
of course you did.
But, I mean, yes, but they were really fascinating, and like, yeah, every page had a big color illustration. You turn it over, have two black and white illustrations, and then a bit of text about the character.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really cool though.
I guess because I'd seen this is what I had seen.
Yeah.
I had never seen the one you just showed before.
Oh wow! Okay.
No, not at all. And so, as far as I was concerned, those two black and white images, which were in bigger size from what I saw, I thought that was the only images of Jitsu in the book. But they, like I said, they were not that size; they were bigger.
That's the other. Yeah, that's the other page. Because like I said, I scanned them all in my blog years ago, and I scanned in the full page. Then I do the black and white ones bigger as well. So I because like I knew I was going to sell them, I just scanned in everything. But yeah, they go into a whole detail, or a little bit of detail about the character and his powers. And they did that with everyone.
Yeah, I guess this is what I was used to seeing because I was under the impression this was a full page.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, they're tiny, tiny. I like Man at Arms. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I didn't think on this episode we were going to come across something Tyler's never seen.
No, which I've seen those books, but just I've never, because no one's ever like scanned all. I've just seen snippets of it. So I had.
Oh, Tyler, if you ever want, like, I scanned in every page for my blog years ago, so I can send them to you.
I'd love to see them because I've always been fascinated by those because I don't own either one of them. So
interesting. Well, James, you had a video up on the official channel some time ago.
Oh, God,
in regards to the whole Chopper name. So go ahead and go into detail about what this is all about here.
Yeah, so, I mean, you go back to 2004, 2005, when I first started getting the scripts. Well, actually, no, go back to 1998. Robert Lamb sends me all of his like bits and pieces. One of them is the series Bible. Going through the series Bible, you see all these characters, and you're like, who the hell is Black Widow, and who the hell is like Spy Man? Later on, would learn, Webstore and Mechanic, but at the time we didn't know. It's just bits of text. And one of them was Chopper, and it was like big hands, and I was like, I guess strong arm, because Jitsu would clearly be called Jitsu or something. I don't know why, that was my thinking. And then yeah, it wasn't until like 2004 I got the script, all the scripts, and I got the script for the Dragon Invasion. I was like, oh yeah, one of my favorite episodes. I was reading, I was like, Chopper? And I was like, oh my goodness, Jitsu he was called Chopper originally. So that was kind of like mind blowing, because I always tell people it's like he was never Jitsu in the cartoon.
Yeah.
Never. From Filmation episode 1 to 130, all 223 episodes of He-Man and She-Ra, that was Chopper. He was in one episode, but he was always known as Chopper. And yeah, it just fascinated me. And like, yeah, I thought they did, but people would probably say like, well, why does he look kind of different to his toy? And it's the thing I always go on about is with certain characters, unfortunately, we've never seen too much development artwork for him. I guarantee at one point there was a Mattel illustration, a concept sketch that looked a lot more like this than the final figure. Because that's the thing. When you look at like Trapjaw and Triclops, we see sketches and stuff like that, but never for Jitsu. Jitsu seems to be like the one that you never see any kind of development artwork for in terms of the Mattel side of things. But yeah, I thought they did I thought Filmation did a really good job.
I did too.
And this is the original. Like, so if you go back and forward, yeah, you can see that's the final design where Jitsu's got the smaller head.
Yeah.
But the original design had a bigger head, which makes him less bulky.
I'm glad they changed it because it just looks more proportionate with the smaller head, I think.
It's weird though. Like I look at the bigger head and he looks more. This may sound weird. He looks more like an action figure in that sense. He's more proportioned.
Yeah.
Whereas in the final one, he's more like a brute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's just mass. He's just a massive dude. Because I want people to hear it, because if they haven't, I've watched that video about the Jitsu chopper scenario like so many times. You have to elaborate too. Who was featured in the storyboards for that?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean, I think I've included a few after this.
Okay, never mind.
We got some storyboards along the way, but I'm kind of in agreement with James here. I think the smaller head though does a better job of kind of showing off how big his hand is. Force that, but I kind of prefer the bigger head.
I can see that.
Looks more like the toy to me.
But isn't it funny when you look at that model sheet though? When you look at the original with the bigger head, you would have just gone like, "Oh, that's fine." But Filmation were obviously fine tuning every bit and going like, "Well, now let's do that and change this." And yeah, it's amazing. It's that was part of what the Parent the Honor Foundation found. It was just like, "Oh, we've got Chopper's model sheet." So yeah, the Dragon Invasion, the storyboarded by Don Manuel, who did The Sleepers Awaken. And yeah, in the storyboards, there is no Chopper. There is only Zool. As I said that started coming out like that.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
It's appropriate. Yeah, no, there's no, in the storyboards, Chopper is Strong Arm, which is really weird. It just baffled me when I saw the storyboards. I was like, wait a minute, so Chopper was both Jitsu and Strong Arm? I was just trying to figure it out. And I was prior to, when I said to Nathan this evening, I said, I think we're going to be on tonight. I think, everything's, I'm kind of getting on top of things with other things. And I started writing out dates on a bit of paper to try and figure out the timeline of Chopper and Strong Arm. And it just didn't make any sense. There was no reason why he shows up in the storyboard. It was like, no, at this point, Chopper had already been designed. So it's like, I don't know why Strong Arm shows up. It might just be that I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know why. Actually, no, there could be one reason. And it's something I've covered on videos before and talked about, and I did in our Sleepers Awaken breakdown, is that they would often, the guys doing the storyboards would often get the model sheets at a later stage. So it could be that Don Manuel was like, I'll just use this guy again. And if we need, and then eventually they said, well, here's what Chopper should look like. And he's like, okay, well, the storyboards are done. So
and that's probably what happened, because I'm starting to wonder, like at some point, I figured they were just going to go with Strong Arm. Maybe they hadn't had his name, official, but then they get this character that's going to be an action figure down the line. Like, okay, let's use him instead.
I think like Strong Arm was always just Strong Arm, and I think he was always in the She-Demon of Phantos. That was always the thing. But I think like with this, I think just Don Manuel was like, I'll just use that guy again. We need a guy, Bush.
Yeah.
That's always my favorite sequence in the sticker albums.
I couldn't wait. Couldn't wait to see Jitsu for his brief moment of action as a kid.
It's such a great shot. Like it's just like poof. But yeah, I love this sequence.
And him sitting at the council table too was a big deal to me also, because that's your first
Yeah.
glimpse of the character, and like, oh my god, there he is.
This is obviously the well, they stactions, weren't they?
Staction, yeah, God, this one eluded me. I've never been able to track that one down. At least
Were
I
they
haven't
really,
tried in
were
years.
they really hard to find?
Yeah, he was, and I always had heard like the his ponytail would break off, and sometimes
Those stactions were pretty fragile.
they are fragile, but they are works of art.
I had one. I think I had to sell it years ago. It was the evil in yellow skin,
Oh,
blue,
yes.
which is holding the crystal.
Yeah,
The only thing, and it's my kind of overarching problem with a lot of the 2002 stuff, is just the extremes. But I get it because it was the Four Horsemen at the time doing that style, so I completely understand the design. But I always like Jitsu's hand being somewhat in proportion, big, but not like where it looks like, I don't know, that to me is just a bit too much.
I love it because I'm
it.
like you. I got and I love the extreme things they did, because I mean every character had like, I think of like Man at Arms, like shoulder.
Yeah.
Like it's excessively large, but I'm like, for what they were going for, I was cool with that. And much like Fisto's fist was massive. I'm like, well, Jitsu, I mean, it makes sense for that. But I'm like you, my preference is to be more proportioned. But for what the staction was, I thought it was a work of art.
I get it. A bit Lodafuss as well.
Yeah, which was a nice touch.
So
it's a lovely design, though. Oh,
this is the apex of Jitsu.
Yeah.
This mature look that they gave him, like he looks so much more aged but badass.
Yeah, he looks like a warrior.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and I love like the commas that they included with him too. That he has like the yeah. Well, I thought it was that was a wonderful touch that they added to him, because master martial arts, like he wouldn't. It makes sense for him to have other weapons that he'd be really good with.
So good. That's the thing, man. Like, you still can't convince me that Classics wasn't the best Twilight. So
good. I'm sorry, but people who said there's the Origins, I'm sorry, you weren't here for Classics, and you can look back and just be all sour.
I never really clocked that they gave him almost like infinity gems in his glove.
Yeah,
that's crazy. I never know. I feel
like that was a nod from like the staction, because the staction has got.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the previous photo. Yeah, definitely.
So I just thought that was like, okay, they're carrying that over. Like, that's amazing.
Such a good,
It just and the having like the red like knot he's got in his hair back there.
Yeah,
I just like seeing that little touch right there, to have his hair pulled up like that. Just
they did such a good job with that.
There is so much potential for that character, like of like where he gets the hand, where his background comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love fantasizing about where, because I just love like that look. That is the look of someone you don't fuck with. Oh god.
But what about this guy? You want to fuck around with this guy?
Oh my god!
Now that looks like Mr. T.
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is real. But hang on. So
it gets worse.
We go from Classics to the new Eternia figures that they're putting out. But here is a side-by-side comparison that I found between
That's an insult to the Classic figure to have that piece of shit standing next to it.
So
that can't be. That's like a custom, isn't it?
It looks like a shitty custom. Yes, it does.
This is real.
Oh my god!
It's like they paid someone to sculpt that.
I've never seen this.
So there we go. So you can. That's why, and I know, like, sometimes people are like, "Oh, here they go again," but this is why the Classics line to me is my favorite line of Master Universe. Period. For me, everyone has their varying opinions, but when you put this stuff side by side, it is blatantly obvious.
The one on the left stylistically makes no sense. Like he's got like rope, and he's got everything seems to be a mishmash.
Yeah,
I do like I like the idea of the sword on his side. That's pretty cool.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Damn me.
There you go. There's a little side by side.
I'm just thinking, like, Mattel decided they want to do their own thing, and I got what they wanted to do with the whatever the fuck that line's called. But I'm just like, why did you guys think this like these sculpts? Because I've seen a lot of, and they're all shit.
I can't get
They've
over
not
this.
done one good figure in that entire line. And yeah,
Zoom
I've
into
seen
the
movie
face
figures too, and
again.
they're just
I've
not.
got to see the face again. Oh man, how threatening does he look? Hi, I'm Jitsu. Would you like a biscuit with your coffee? You know, with your.
Tyler, he kind of looks like the clerk in Falling Down, whose store gets smashed up by kind of a little bit.
No, I think he just, if I'm being honest, he doesn't look Asian at all.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, we'll move on past this. Here is the Origins version of Jitsu,
which this
not as offensive.
Yeah, but it's just like all the Origin, they're disproportioned.
Yeah, it just doesn't look quite right.
No.
Nathan, have you got the Super 7? No, it's not Super 7. Yeah, it was Super 7 Filmation Jitsu Chopper figure.
No, but I will get that.
I just suddenly
I got it
realized
over here on my shelf if we need it.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you got it on the shelf, go ahead and if it's not going to knock over too much stuff,
I don't think so.
Go ahead and pick them up.
Here's give you a little bit of trivia about them.
Yeah, here's Jitsu's entry in the character compendium book.
Here he is.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have like he's unsheathing his sword, and there's no sheath for it, but that's been
Could
my pose for him.
Hold his face up to the camera because I could never quite remember what he looked like. Right, so when they were designing the figure, I was actually asked my opinion on something, and I designed. So they originally went by the model sheet, and so he just had pretty much like lines for eyes. And I won't say who, just because he may not want to be involved in this conversation. But I said, he said, "Do you think maybe like we can make him look a little less like a stereotype?" And I was like, "Well, just add a couple of little pupils in there." And I took their kind of sculpt and I drew little black dots, and that's what they ended up doing.
Well, it looks great though.
I know, because it worked really. It did come out really well. Like, and it was nice that they didn't go crazy with it and say like, we need to really kind of give him big white eyes or something. And it worked out really well, I thought. But I was just like, yeah, I'm happy to do my little contribution. Boink, boink.
Well, yeah, I didn't know that was you. So bravo.
Yeah, I thought the figure came out great because that was when Val was. I think it was like was it PowerCon exclusive or maybe I'm misremembering. I think it was just it was Super 7, wasn't it? I think
Super 7 put this one out. Yeah, part of the Filmation line. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I wrote his bio. It's been so long since I did this stuff. I think I wrote the bio on the packaging for him because I did all that, everything for Super 7. I did all the bios, so I must have done his. I should have bloody got that and put it onto the thing. Oh well. Next time.
Unmute myself. Here is the entry, as I said before, kind of covers most of the stuff. You want to read the classics bit?
No.
Yeah, all right. So
oh no.
The classics canon offered a new backstory. Jitsu was an intergalactic bandit serving time in the prison star space station when the wizard Keldor freed him. Grateful, Jitsu swore allegiance to Keldor, an oath he kept even after the mage's transformation into Skeletor.
What a crock of shit.
Let me zoom in a little bit more. Jitsu's skill in battle made him vital to many of Skeletor's military campaigns against King Randor, but Jitsu's arch-nemesis Fisto gravely wounded him at the Battle of Gretori Bridge. Okay. The technical specialist Triclops replaced Jitsu's damaged hand with the golden robotic gauntlet. Jitsu remained in Skeletor's service until after the second Ultimate Battleground title.
I hate that so much. He just uses the tagline from the fucking box.
In the aftermath of Skeletor's departure from Eternia, Jitsu took possession of Snake Mountain and ruled Skeletor's former domain for many years, battling Randor's forces and the cosmic enforcer Strobo. Much later in life, Jitsu was recruited by the Unnamed One in an attempt to obtain the Star Seed. Even as an old man, Jitsu remained a formidable opponent for the Master Universe and the third Ultimate Battlegrounds. Yeah.
What a dumbass. I still to this day, and I'm not going to ask James why, why Mattel insisted on, after a guy who is no longer on the property, we want to keep all the bullshit he wrote on these bios that most people do not care about, and you continue to use them as canon and make others who want to write bios. You know, you got to follow what this pig shit that was written on all these. You got to keep following what he did. He's no longer with us anymore, but we don't know what the hell we're doing anyway. So just follow whatever he did.
I'll never understand that direction personally.
Oh God,
it's weird.
And it just bothers me because that shit found its way into the media, and people. It's like this is what people are going to. You know, people are just like going to this as a source of like, oh, so this is what the character's about. No, it's like they're saying Billy Madison that we're all dumber for having not listened to it. I mean, anybody. If this is what it drove me crazy because I feel like so few were actually challenging Scott when he was writing this stuff. Like when they were talking about the bios in Rose School, but like, guys, come on, question this horse shit. He's making this stuff up. I remember Chris Finn's podcast. They were talking about all these bios. I'm like, why aren't you guys questioning? This is all made up, you know. I'm just sitting there screaming in my car, listening to this stuff. Like, why are you guys just going along with this? Did you all know anything about these characters?
A car pulls up to Tyler at a stoplight and looks over, and he's just like,
just ranted.
I mean, it was infuriating. And there were people I respected. I respected their opinions. They're like, am I the only one hearing this, reading this? And no one was questioning it. Finally, Danielle said, Snake Man at Arms, no. We're like, thank you, God. Finally, someone has acknowledged this is complete bullshit.
And then you were like,
he's gotten away. He's gotten away with pissing all over this line.
And then Tyler's like,
the price for years later.
Tyler's like,
just continue to just go on with it. We don't know. We don't know. Rob David, do you know? Hell, I don't know. I got my own page shit I'm writing. Oh my God, we're gonna go with that.
And then Tyler's like, you know what? I hope I get to talk to Danielle one day and tell her, hey, I'm really happy that you spoke up that one time.
I need to tell her about that because I feel like she was the only one that was just like, you know, and Scott wasn't on there, but she was like, Val, I got to call Foul here. It's like, finally, someone says something here.
You see down here at the bottom left, the German comics. We'll get into that soon enough.
Yeah.
I saw this just in my searches. This was just like some fan art I saw.
I think I know the artist. Hang on a second. Yeah, that was his name was, oh my goodness. His nickname was like the Bear. I'm sure it's like Chris the Bear something. And I've still got a few of his art, piece of art on my computer. He was like a fan artist, but his stuff always looked really nice. He did the best ever illustration of oh my goodness, was it a fearless photog standing over Whiplash? I'm sure that was him.
I've seen that.
I think that was him as well. I may be wrong. I'm sure that was him. And I was just like, that was the first time I saw Fearless Photog and thought, that's a great character.
Oh, it is.
But he, if it's the same artist, like he was like one of those fan artists in the early 2000s that just was kicking ass, as it were. It's just like, oh, this stuff's really good. I'm sure this is him.
Yeah, I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting take. It's the only bit of fan art that I have on there, but I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I could see, I could honestly see this being one of those variants in the 2000X line.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. Yeah. It definitely feels like it's 2000X inspired.
Yeah, especially when they were doing all the samurai shit with He-Man and Skeletor.
Which that's what we should have got instead of those shitty variants.
Yeah. Bought them all. And now these are images that Tyler shared with me. So Tyler, you go ahead and give us the story.
Yeah. I wanted to do mini comic covers for characters who didn't get their own mini comic, and I just thought depicting Clawful and Jitsu in their own mini comic together, where they're the main antagonist, and I was like, I want to see them destroying a village, having a beautiful woman captive. I want to be prominent. I want the only thing you see is He-Man and the Power Sword, like. That I just like he's there confronting them. The threat is there in the name of destruction, which I pulled that from Evelyn's plot when Skeletor says, "Forward my lackeys in the name of destruction." It's like that's the name of this mini comic. But I didn't have a story for it, but it was just my way of like depicting what I felt they should have got in the original line. You know, something that's just showcasing them, why they are. Kevin did a phenomenal job of like seeing this village in peril. This poor girl is about ready to be killed, and Jitsu's challenging He-Man like right there. Like this
Well,
is what
I
these
love the
guys
fact.
deserve.
I love the fact he's gesturing to the woman, like, or he's gesturing like, "Look who we've got," you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much. Was trying to imply that we want you to engage in a fight because I know I'm better than you. So you either willingly engage in a battle or we this girl's gone.
Yeah.
And then this was a Thundercats. This is how you do a proper He-Man Thundercats crossover here. But I used Jitsu in this one, and I used the concept that William Stout did for Snake Mountain as the background, and put Crawl, King of
Nice.
Demons, in
Yeah.
the background as if he was the mastermind. I just wanted to see an amalgam of He-Man Thundercat characters together, and I just
They
picked
got
Rotaro, Monkian, the
Rotaro.
Driller,
Driller,
Stinkor.
Hammerhand.
Hammerhand's in the back down there too. And
That's really nice.
yeah, Kevin did an amazing job with this.
The amount of detail on that is phenomenal.
Yeah, he kicks so much ass. He knows how to draw He-Man, that's for sure. He-Man and Thundercats. This was the second illustration Axel Jimenez did for me, and I just wanted to see a mishmash. I wanted to see karate, strong arm, Icer, Too Bad, and Jitsu, of course, and He-Man with the movie Power Sword in vintage style, and Dark Smoke, which you can see Dark Smoke way back in the background. Below karate there.
The little thing, yeah.
Look at that, man! You got two choppers in there. Who's who?
I do have two choppers in there. Yeah,
that's awesome. So good.
Well, that's all that I have from this. So from there, we will move on to that German story.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Get that loaded up. So James, this is also not translated at all because there's been a few instances where these stories have been translated to English. So here it is in all of its a German glory. But you actually wrote out. Do you want me to just go ahead and read this first, or?
I suppose. Yeah, I mean, the plot, as I said to you guys before, is like such a straightforward plot, but it is interesting in how it presents Jitsu as a lone warrior from like the east of Eternia or the Eastern Kingdom, and he's basically coming to see if Eternia or like let's call it Eternos is conquerable, and obviously straight away he runs into the Lord of Destruction, who says, "Oi, what are you doing here?" And he says, "Go on then." No, basically,
that's him right there saying, "Go on then."
Yeah, go on then.
No, so basically, Skeletor. Skeletor isn't trying to trick him or anything. He's saying like, "Well, we can be allies." And Jitsu's very standoffish, like, "Well, what can you offer me?" And he's like, "Well, I can take you where you need to go." And he's like, oh, "Okay, let's we'll shake on it and see where we end up." But it's like an uneasy alliance. And then classic, Eternia, or it's quite funny in the German Interpart comics. I think every issue pretty much has a scene with Adam and Orko prior to the transformation. It's sort of like they went, "Yeah, let's just do this in every issue." But Orko does a spell, makes a giant ladybug.
Very tall hat.
Yeah,
it's quite funny. Like
it's like a Dr. Seuss drew Orko.
Yeah, it really is. The German Interpart comics, like some of them are amazing because the artist, oh my goodness, William, I forget his surname now. It's like Gertz or something. His like some of his issues are so Kirby inspired, it's ridiculous. Like not only the Kirby cackle, but just the way Jack Kirby would do the big machines and the shine and everything, the squiggles. Yeah. They're abundant in so many of his stories. I don't think there's many in this one, but you get in a lot of his comics, and I really love a lot of his illustrations because they're very unique and they're not exactly like what we'd seen in the the English language comics, as it were. So Zord turns up and says, "Someone's here to see He-Man," or "Someone's at Castle Grayskull," and Adam's like, I think Adam says, "What, me or He-Man?" It's
interesting choice here for Adam to be.
Yeah, they're not showing him wearing like the
no, it's like
the lavender tights.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I mean, his costume would change in so many different ways. There's one issue, I think it's the second issue of the German Interpart. He's wearing like a green jacket, and it's just like like a lime green. It's really quite. And when they did a reprint, this German company, Retro Fabric, it's a great company, does all the reprints officially. They recolored all the mistakes. So in this one, they made Jitsu look more like the toy colors.
Oh, cool.
It's really, and they, in the one I mentioned, that Adam, where he's wearing the green jacket, they made it red. But the weird thing about this is he transforms. We don't see Cringer. He transforms. Battlecat suddenly appears, and during their conversation, Battlecat says, "I'm ready," and He-Man says, "Well, this is just going to be me." So it's like, why did you bring Battlecat then? But yeah, basically, yeah. Look at the way Jitsu's pointing. If you look at the glove, it's kind of Kirby-ish with the squiggles on it and everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is like like I say, very simple story where Jitsu turns up and he's like, right, I want to see which of us is the strongest. And so Jitsu's like, watch me. And Skeletor's obviously perched watching, like, haha, He-Man's going to meet his match. And so Jitsu goes, watch this, I'm going to smash this rock. Yeah, and smashes it. He-Man's, and I think He-Man says, like, that's very nice. Like, I think if I remember the translation, He-Man is quite patronizing, and it kind of annoys Jitsu. And Jitsu's like, you're not impressed by that? Watch this when I headbutt through a tree. I feel like if this was Filmation, He-Man would say, that's a great way to get a headache. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I can see John Irwin saying that.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. And Jitsu's like, look.
And I like that pose of He-Man just kind of leaning against the rock.
Yeah,
you know,
just like,
it's quite impressive there, bud.
Yeah, nice work with your head. And then Jitsu's like, well, you know, I think Jitsu grows tired of me. He's sort of like, well, you'll be sorry for mocking me, that kind of thing. So He-Man's like, right, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. And basically, great physical poses here as well. Like,
Yeah.
those 3 panels look amazing. He-Man looks like the most powerful man in the universe. Like, smashes the ground.
I just like right here, it's almost like he's going to do just kind of a stretch first before he's like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
let's
it
do
does,
this.
yeah.
His
Yeah, it
serratus
does.
like expand as he's like getting ready to just pull back up and just
Yeah.
dig
It
right
smashes
into the
the
ground.
I mean, this story has kind of been done so many times in media where it's like, which of us is the strongest? Here's my, and the hero goes, well, here we go. I'm going to lift everything that you're on, or, you know, the things that you did. I'm going to impress you by, you know, destroying all of it, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, He-Man upends Jitsu. I think in the dialogue, Jitsu's like, be careful, watch out. He-Man topples him, drops the thing, and I think Jitsu like walks off and says, Skeletor's like, where are you going, you moron? And he says, Jitsu says something like, I'm going to look for a better advisor. And then He-Man says, and now you know it's German. He-Man says, he walked hundreds of kilometers for this. It's like, give it to me in miles. It works better for me. But
it's a fun story, and the artist did a pretty good job too. There's certain shots that look very imposing of the character.
I just like it's a unique story for Jitsu rather than, you know, what we've seen before, which is, you know, the evil warrior, which is nothing wrong with that.
No,
But instead here he's like, oh, he's like a leader from another kingdom. It's like that to me, you know, Tyler's always talking about, you know, inspiring. Like, you see an illustration, it's like, what's the story there? With this one, it's like, oh, so Jitsu has a kingdom. Well, there's something there. Like, yeah, this is just a one-shot story, one and done. But it's like, what else could there be? So yeah, that's what I find.
Well, speaking of Tyler and getting ideas and stories, it just so happens that Tyler has a Jitsu story,
What?
the original one that he's worked on in the
What?
past that he's been holding on to for quite some time. And I figured,
I think I wrote it about 2 years ago for a project that, like many of them, never get off the ground.
Yeah. So,
like, you know,
here we go. What better time to share a Jitsu original story than right now?
I wrote this
the
in
title?
many comic form. So as I'm saying this, like they're listed as like page 1, panel 3, that kind of thing. So I'm not going to break it down that.
You can if you want to. That way, people can kind of.
You know, I don't want to get monotonous for you guys and for the listeners as well, though.
Well, I mean, it's up to you if you kind of want to specify in certain parts. That way, people
you can do that.
Visualize as they're flipping through like a mini comic. However you want to do it.
Okay.
Start off with the title.
Yeah,
okay. The title is called Jitsu's Nightmare.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Who's the writer?
Some pompous ass who thinks he knows everything. But the cover would be moonlit sky above, Jitsu smiling, mounted on Night Stalker, holding his blade down towards a fallen Fisto at the feet of Night Stalker. Fisto looks up angrily, Point Dread and the Talon Fighter way up above the fight, which I drew inspiration from the Point Dread record book, where
Yeah.
it takes He-Man and Point Dread's up on this big mountain peak. I've always been fascinated by that.
Yes.
So
That was always cool.
you have to envision this is kind of what I'm using for Point Dread, not something sitting on top of Castle Grayskull, but on a mountain peak, a distance away. Page 1, splash panel, narration, inside Snake Mountain, the council chamber celebrates another victory. Skeletor sitting on his throne, leaning forward a bit. Clawful and Webster sitting at the council table, one on each side. Jitsu at the end of the table, kneeling down, his hands extended out, holding a black staff. Skeletor, do my eyes deceive me, Jitsu? Have you brought me the symbol of your latest victory? Jitsu speaks, in the name of destruction, my lord Skeletor, I give you the Shadow Staff, which is a nod to the Land of Shadows in the Thief of Castle Grayskull Golden Book.
Okay.
Page 2. Skeletor taking the staff from Jitsu, holding it. At last, the Land of Shadows will now bow down to the Lord of Destruction. Panel 2. Jitsu with a stern look on his face. Have I redeemed myself, Lord Skeletor? Panel 3. Skeletor turns to Jitsu. You embarrass me in the arena of doom. Panel 4. Skeletor leads Jitsu down a dark, scary staircase to the lower levels of Snake Mountain. However, after you successfully triumphed in your last 5 missions, I shall reward these victories. Panel 5. Skeletor and Jitsu enter the Forge Lab. Well, Modulok, have you finished my latest creation? Page 2. Modulok turns to greet Skeletor while Spikor continues to forge away on a mechanical leg. Yes, Lord Skeletor, your spy bat brought back exact details of Stridor's schematics. Panel 2. Spikor locks the leg in place to a large mechanical being draped in shadows. It was an easy task to assemble this warhorse. You should be quite pleased. Modulok turns a switch now to bring him to life. Panel 4. Modulok rubbing his hands together anxiously. Skeletor, may I present to you. Panel 5. The warhorse is revealed in flashing lights, his eyes glowing red, steam emitting from his nostrils. Modulok speaks, Night Stalker. Page 3. Skeletor and Jitsu approach the horse. Skeletor laughs. Excellent. We now have more strength and power on the battlefield. Panel 2. Jitsu in awe approaches Night Stalker. Skeletor's arms crossed. Jitsu, you are to be Night Stalker's caretaker. Panel 3. Jitsu bows before Skeletor. I am forever grateful, my lord. Together we shall spread the grip of destruction. Jitsu rises up, anger in his face. My lord Skeletor, I beg of you, I must now redeem myself in my own eyes. Allow me to take my revenge on Fisto. Allow me to finally show you that I am the true master of hand-to-hand combat. Panel 5. Jitsu mounts Night Stalker. Allow me and Night Stalker to destroy Fisto and his pathetic Strider. In the name of Skeletor, I beg you. Panel 6. Skeletor from his chest up, his fist clenched. So be it. Formation pose reference. Panel 6. Skeletor commands. You are to capture Point Dread next. Take him and whatever troops and resources you need. Lure Fisto and do with him as you wish. Page 5. Jitsu holding his katana sword, riding Night Stalker, charges out past the bloodfalls of Snake Mountain. Clawful and Webster follow on war sleds. Panel 2. Close-up of Jitsu gritting his teeth. I will break you, Fisto, you and your toy horse. Panel 3. Fisto riding atop Stridor as they examine the surrounding territory, Grayskull away in the distance. Dusk begins to cast its shadow on Eternia as Fisto and his faithful steed of steel finish their patrol. You ready to head back to the palace, old friend? Our patrol is about over. Panel 4. Stridor speaks. With pleasure. You promised me a fresh oil bath. That I did, old friend. Let's go. Panel 5. The computer screen on Stridor's cockpit buzzes in. This is Fisto. Go ahead, He-Man. He-Man speaks. Fisto, we're receiving some distress signals around Point Dread. Can you and Stridor ride out to investigate? I'll join you soon. Panel 6. Sure thing, He-Man. We're on our way. Fisto directs Stridor in the other direction. Sorry, boy. Duty calls. Page 6. Stridor charges steady and fast. You owe me 2 oil baths after this one. Panel 2. Narration. Night is falling on Eternia, and evil thrives under the cloak of darkness. Fisto and Stridor approach the base of the mountain leading up to Point Dread. Panel 2. The duo look around. Stridor speaks. I'm not seeing any disturbances around here. Fisto. He-Man wouldn't have sent us out here for nothing. There must be something. Stridor scans up towards the peak. Up there, Fisto. Panel 4. Strider's vision locks in on 2 war sleds firing around the steps to Point Dread. Fisto looks upward. Strider speaks. It's Clawful and Webstore. They're destroying the path to Point Dread. Page 7. Fisto unsheathes his sword and charging up the mountain path on Strider. Then they won't be expecting company that way. Charge, Strider. Panel 2. Webstore and Clawful land their war sleds at the plateau below Point Dread. Webstore speaks. Here he comes just as planned. Panel 3. Clawful stands ready to greet the heroes. This should be my triumph. I have a score to settle with him too. Webstore speaks. I can take them now. Panel 4. Jitsu speaks on Clawful's communicator. Don't even think about it. Do your job and you can have whatever's left. Clawful sneers in response. Panel 5. Jitsu sits atop Night Stalker, hiding away on the steps of the Talon Fighter, up to the Talon Fighter. The moonlight basks over the patient evil duo. And there won't be anything left. Page 8. Panel 1. Fisto and Strider stop before the evil warriors. All right, you piles of slow-dough slop. That's enough. You want to do this the easy way or the hard way? Panel 2. Clawful crushes a large rock in his right claw. Webstore prepares to leap into action holding his grappling hook and speaks. You just try and stop us. Panel 3. Close but Fisto smiling anxiously, ready to fight. I was hoping you'd say that. Panel 4. As Strider charges, a large blast hits the ground at the feet of Strider, knocking the pair down. Panel 5. Fisto uses his sword to help him stand up. By the sorceress, what on Eternia? Panel 6. Close-up of Fisto in shock. Page 9. Narration. Then suddenly. Splash panel. Lots of shadow work. Play up the moonlit night. Jitsu and Night Stalker charge down the steps of Point Dread. Jitsu holding his sword out. Night Stalker blowing steam out of his nostrils, eyes glowing brightly. Jitsu speaks. It's time I finally place you on the chopping block, Fisto. Panel 2. Homage to the 2-pack box art. Fisto. So this is how you're going to get even, by stealing my steed? Jitsu speaks. I stole nothing. He was built for victory. My victory. Page 10. Jitsu slashes at Fisto. Fisto blocks it with his fist. Panel 2. Strider rises and blasts at Night Stalker's legs, knocking Jitsu off of him. Panel 3. Strider charges at Night Stalker. Panel 4. Night Stalker clashes with Strider. Strider speaks. You're just an absolute nightmare, aren't you? Panel 5. Night Stalker back kicks Strider in the face. Panel 6. Strider speaks. A bad dream with quite a kick. I'll give you that. Page 11. Wide top panel. Clawful and Webster standing back watching the duos clash. Clawful speaks. I've had it. I'm not going to stand here and let Jitsu claim another victory over us. Webster speaks. I could have ended that fight seconds ago. Panel 2. A voice from above speaks. If you're aching for a fight, Clawful and Webster look up confused. Large panel. He-Man dropping down from his sky sled, colliding with the evil warriors. Perhaps your egos will accept one from above. Page 12. Panel 1. Clawful gets up furious. I'm more than happy to make this your final stand, He-Man. Panel 2. Webster leaps on He-Man's back, wrapping his arms around his neck. Clawful slashing his massive right claw across He-Man's chest. I'm going to enjoy crushing the life out of you. Panel 3. Jitsu and Fisto locked in a sword fight. Jitsu speaks. I waited so long for this. Fisto. I wasn't hard to find, chump. Panel 4. Jitsu sweep kicks Fisto. Fisto hits his head on a rock. Panel 5. Jitsu pulls his right hand back. At last. Fisto, dazed from the rock, sees the chop coming. Page 13. Panel 1. Fisto leaps out of the way as Jitsu slashes the stone with his chopping hand. Panel 2. Clawful, snapping his claws, speaks as he attempts to end He-Man. Skeletor's envy of this moment will be legendary. Panel 3. He-Man manages to unsheath his power sword out. Panel 4. He-Man plunges the blade into Clawful's foot. Clawful screams horribly. Webster looks on in shock while still on He-Man's back. Panel 5. He-Man throws Webster into an injured Clawful. Panel 6. He-Man removes the sword from Clawful's foot as he lies unconscious. Webster leaps up, finishing Webster off with a roaring thunder punch across his jaw. Page 14. Panel 1. Jitsu roundhouse kicks Fisto in the head. Panel 2. Fisto responds with a right backhand across Jitsu's face. Panel 3. Jitsu stumbles, struggling to stand. I won't be denied. I am the master of hand-to-hand combat. Panel 4. Fisto throws the mightiest punch into Jitsu's face, sending him unconscious to the ground. Panel 5. Strider trots over to Fisto. Night Stalker's fallen. He-Man walking over to Fisto as he sheathes his power sword. Fisto looking down towards the fallen Jitsu. Panel 6. Close-up of Fisto. I'd love a good rematch.
Oh, bravo! Yes,
Fantastic stuff, dude.
Thank you.
I did like the. I as soon as you said like stairway and they were up high, I thought I bet he's gonna. This is. I don't know what the impetus of the story was, but I just thought to myself, I wonder if it's going to feature that William George box art, or is it Old Norman box art? It's William George, isn't
William
it?
George,
yeah. I thought I can see that coming, kind of thing. I was like, all Fisto has to do is come off his horse, and then you had to like separate. I was like, here we go.
Yeah,
so that was really nice. But I was going to ask you, called it Jitsu's Nightmare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I sound like I'm doing an interview. Is that the play on the fact that Night Stalker was originally called Nightmare?
Yes.
Yeah, because when you said he was introduced, I thought, I wonder if he's going to introduce him as Nightmare initially. But
I just did it as a nod to what his prototype name was going to be. That's
cool, man. I also liked the. I think you referred to Strider as a steed of steel. I was like, that's really nice. And the sorcerer's quote, I made little notes while I was.
Oh wow!
So yeah, the sorcerer's quote was really cool. Yeah, that was really. It was as always. It's really lovely to listen to and kind of picture everything and go like, oh, I want to see this mini comic. That's always the case, It's just like, oh, I want to see that as a mini comic.
I'd give anything to have that illustrated.
Just message Larry Houston and be like, how much would it cost?
But I've even asked him for original artwork, and I never could get a clear response on him. And of course, I think he, from what I recall, I don't know what he really thinks about the podcast.
I should reach out to him again. He's a good lad.
I'd love to. I know I tried reaching out to him to bring him on for like another He-Man discussion. I never heard back from him, so I don't know if it was like just too busy or like I did 3 interviews with him total. 2 He-Man and 1 on X-Men and GI Joe and other stuff. So
yeah, it was ages ago now.
Oh, I know.
When you start talking about it, it's like it was a long time ago. Actually,
yeah,
it was
a long time ago.
10 years ago.
God, I guess it would have been.
Point. Yeah.
But yeah, great mini comic, and
thank you.
Like, it's that thing that, as you're saying, it's very much like when you and Breisky did the Malactha one.
Oh yeah.
And then there was the Stench of Evil, and then I think still my favorite of all time was the 5 Horde mini comics, which all. That was great. So, but it's a thing where as you're telling it, it's like, oh, I'm, picturing it and thinking like, oh, I can see how that would look,
Well, the important thing to remember too, and sorry that it just sounds like James and I are just like, oh Tyler, but no, the passion is what really exudes from the story. Is you see like clearly Tyler loves the shit, and he's throwing nods to box art and episodes of Filmation and kind of taking everything and tying it all together and just using that as inspiration too. So. There was one part in the story. It was early on when it was like, was it Shroud of Darkness? How did you word that there at the beginning? It was something, I heard it. I was like, damn, I got to remember to like bring that up.
At the beginning of the story?
Yeah, towards the beginning of it.
Not cloaked in darkness.
Cloaked in darkness. What was
that's the sorceress line?
Oh no, evil thrives in the cloak of darkness.
Yeah.
That's directly from the Greatest Adventures of All when she's wrapping up the special. It's an exterior shot of Grayskull and saying, evil thrives in the cloak of darkness.
So for someone like me who's not watched these episodes a bajillion times, putting that in your story and then hearing it like that, I'm like, fuck, man, that sounds really good. Not even knowing the context of where you pulled it from, just hearing that line, just the way that it's said that way.
I'm not that creative. I do it. It's a love letter though to the dialogue that's always just resonated with me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And don't sell yourself short in that regard, because all the dialogue that you had within there, very Filmation-esque, like just taking inspiration from. But
that's a reference to Jitsu calling Leech chump. No, he calls it beast breath. Actually, no, I think I just pulled that from. It is from that mini. I think it's Whiplash calling.
Someone calls someone a chump in that mini.
Yeah, I just thought, you know what, that's, I'm not going to use like vulgar language.
Is it Manny Faces and Spike when they're fighting? Does one of them call each other chump?
Thornface. He calls Spike
Thornface.
Yeah, Thornface. Yeah, but
That's
chump, even though it's not something that I think we go around calling people chump. Is like trying to be tough, but it seems like it's an appropriate like derogatory word of like saying you're less than, so you're a chump. So it seemed appropriate. In terms of like because people don't know how to write He-Man dialogue. At least nowadays, they just seem to write as if like they live down the street from you.
Yeah.
Just ask old Scott Knightley.
That's my biggest problem with. I've talked about it before. That's my biggest problem with like modern Masters of the Universe is you don't want them to sound like Mighty Thor comics of the 1960s,
no.
which I love, of course.
No, it's fine for that, but I don't want even say dost thou hateth Skeletor.
No.
Like
but there needs to be that element where there's a level of dialogue which is you want it to feel like it fits into the fantasy world.
Yeah.
If someone's going like bollocks or crap or whatever, it's just like, I'm not really. That doesn't feel like Eternia to me.
I agree.
Yeah. Of course you're going to throw in the odd, earth-based colloquialism or whatever, but certain things it's just like, it's like Star Trek, isn't it? I think a lot of modern interpretations in recent years of Star Trek, they make it really current dialogue, and it's like Star Trek is supposed to be set like a bajillion years in the future, and they're going like whatever, and it's just like, no, you don't do that in fucking Star Trek.
Well, Star Wars guilty of the same shit.
I think at this point a lot of properties are guilty of
yeah.
I think it's
just
probably
lazy writing. They're not taking time to think about
I think it's part that, and the other part is I think for whatever reason they just assume that people will resonate with it more if it's in present vernacular, and
dare I say as well,
dumb,
like, not to be too much of an asshole,
NYP
but
made a couple mistakes like that too, like in Underworld, like Adam says "Go Dad," like what the hell is that?
Did you say "Go Daddy"? What?
When Randor's taking on
he does say "Go
Ceratus,
Dad." Yeah, you're right.
He says "Go Dad." Like I was like, what the fuck? Like
that's really weird.
No.
Then Tyler set his TV on fire.
Please don't do that.
I still think that I filmed it at the time. Like, no disrespect, I know I'm going to catch flack from this one. When I say,
of course.
But when I watched Revelation, I was like, I'm going to film my reactions to see, like,
I might do tissues to wipe the tears away, or a bucket to throw off in.
So. I think it was the first episode, and I was filming my reactions. And after the first episode, I was like, I can't put this out because my reactions aren't what people would want to see. Because the first one was the one I remember distinctly going back and watching, because it was like me watching it like for the first time ever, and I'm sitting there, and it was Mark Hamill as Skeletor, and he just goes, "You did good, Linny," and I was just like, "Oh, Linny." I was like, why? Skeletor would never call Evil Lyn Linny.
Yeah, but see, he was playing the Joker in that, so it's,
of course.
Yeah,
it was just, I remember like that made me like,
Rob.
Oh no,
they just fuck.
I wasn't a big fan of that, but that's the thing. It's that to me, it took me out of that moment.
Yeah,
along with everything else.
But at least Jitsu was unscathed by that.
Did he turn up in? He didn't turn up in.
I don't
Revelation.
think so. I don't think he
I still haven't seen Revolution, so I don't know if he pops up in that.
I don't recall, but I blocked most of that out of my mind.
Okay.
Any final thoughts on
Jitsu.
the character of Jitsu? Yes.
Tyler.
I was going to say James. I feel like the two Govers and Linus. Oh no, you go ahead. I insist.
Or just talk at the same time.
Yeah.
Here's what we both think.
Oh no, that'll give me no PTSD.
That is. You know what? I'm gonna say something, but you know what? I'm not gonna go that far with it here.
All right, James, you go.
I'm not gonna go that
I'll
far.
go first.
James goes first.
I I would love to have seen him pop up in Filmation. Well, one of the things I mentioned, I kind of briefly was going to touch upon, but I think the reason I don't know, I'm just about to defeat my own point. Um, when I looked at his design, the early design with the bigger head, it says the actual episode as in MU9, which is the Dragon Invasion. And so I thought, oh, maybe they just designed him for that episode and then kind of forgot about him. But he shows up in the character model pack for all the villains. So like Beastman, Merman, Evil, Trapjaw, Triclops, Jitsu, he's right there. So you think, like, they definitely didn't include him for a reason. But yeah, I would love to have seen him pop up again in the series. Although it's a bit of a mixed bag because, as Tyler's pointed out numerous times, the Filmation villains, especially in the later season, would become like, they fall over their own feet kind of thing sometimes. I mean, especially the interpretations of the latter characters, as we've talked about before. Yeah, it was just like, what is that? But you think maybe, if Jitsu had appeared later, would he have been given the same treatment? Is the fact that he appears in one episode so briefly what makes him so special? It's that kind of thing. And like, is it, we've got almost a fascination with him because we know so little about him. Like, Beastman is a great character.
Yeah.
But what hasn't been done with Beastman? Everything's been like, Beastman, we know all about him. Jitsu, it's like, he's not only the master of martial arts, he's the mysterious master of martial arts. There's something really fascinating about his character because when he appears, he makes such a kind of impact with his giant, chopping hand and stuff. And yeah, there's so much about the character I really like, and I always have done. Is one of those that kind of, stays with me, even though, as we've said, he's kind of briefly appears everywhere. It's like brief. Yeah,
I guess that's kind of the question you would have for any of the one-shot appearances. If they show up more, do you run the risk of that watering down,
devaluing them? Yeah,
devaluing them over time. And it's like you said, it's, of course, we're getting like your Beastmans and your Evil Lens and Man-at-Arms and Tila's like almost every episode. And for the most part, that works pretty well with these characters. Could you pull that off with them as well? Or is it best to just keep them the one and done?
I think it's, because James has said it too, like Triclops. Severely underused in this series.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, to the point where, like, man, he's part of the Fab Five and just
he's what, 10, 11 times, something like that.
It's not number. Much. And I still look at his appearance in Diamond Disappearance as probably being his most formidable because he's just even it's brief, but he has his moment of actually being physically causing He-Man to struggle, and not too many other villains did that.
No.
So because of that, and in a few other episodes, but I think if Jitsu had appeared more, I think he'd have been better in the first season. Because even though it'd been cool to see him clashing with Fisto in season 2, I think he would have been a great menace for He-Man to clash with a couple of times, at least having some. But because he relies on hand-to-hand combat, like chopping stuff, he probably would have to be a line where he's chopping trees down. He-Man's got to catch the tree and then throw the tree and knock Jitsu down. It would not be anything, unless it's like that one brief punch in Driel's Return where he knocks the hell out of Clawful off camera. Yeah. But still, to see him being used and speaking more, he has one line of dialogue.
Yeah.
But I think much like Lizardman and Icer and Strong Arm, like characters that have that brief appearance, I was always drawn to, like, I want to know more about them. And Jitsu's went beyond that because he's used so sparingly in the toy line in general, in terms of like his appearance in the mini comics and the media. And there's nothing ever really said about the character. Like, Merman, he's an underwater warlord. You could explore that, but there's nothing about where Jitsu comes from in terms of like where did he learn martial arts? Is his hand, like, I always thought like his chopping hand was like it's a replacement for his actual hand. Like he had
because the action figure, you could take off the hand, couldn't you? You could unscrew it.
You could unscrew it, but I just took it as like that's his hand.
Yeah.
Like he has no actual right hand. And I thought, like, did he lose it? Almost like, did he have to? I kind of think of like the Yakuza, like when they punish their own, they just like sever a finger.
Yeah.
And I thought
you could work in. Yeah.
The idea of like, I mean, obviously this is for kids, but I feel like if it was a slightly more mature, it's like he comes from a very respectable family of martial arts and honor, and there's a lot of tradition and a lot of history to his family. And I could just see him, like, there's like a symbol, like a statue, like a golden statue that honors his family, and wants to be better than his brother, and his brother turns out to be better than him, and like takes out his brother and is banished from the king, and like takes that golden statue and like molds it down and forms like this
that's cool.
It's a way of like kind of giving a finger to his family, like, you know what, I took what you guys treasure most, I gave it into like my most, like my
his first asset. One is a literal finger. It's like, that doesn't work. I'll give myself 4 fingers.
4 fingers though. But I don't know, just something like he is just a bad guy. None of this like tragic story, like, my daddy didn't love me enough. Like, no, like this guy is an asshole. Like, he wants power. He wants to be the best, and almost like he's a wandering evil Ronin. Like, you can hire me. I'll do your dirty work.
You could even go in the route too, going back to the family thing, that maybe he was born into this family that had the power, and they were very respected, and his father was like the cream of the crop, right? And in terms of this clan and all this stuff. And then he passes away, his brother takes over, and his brother, instead of having the tradition and the respect, starts to make it corrupt. And at first Jitsu's starting to kind of go along with it, but then you can kind of roll in that possibly that whole thing of like an operation that he wants him to go on doesn't go the right way. It's like, well, you've shamed the family, and has him do it where he severs his hands.
I'd flip that. I'd flip it that his brother wants to maintain the tradition, and Jitsu's pushing for more what would lead down to corruption of the family. Like
that would probably work better to work him more into being the villain.
Yeah, like he's just like, I don't want to do what we've always done. I want a new direction. Like, I want the power. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
and would lose his hand as like as severance to like
But at the same time, I kind of like the mystery to him.
That's fun.
That's
but I'm all about mystery, because I feel like people just don't seem to understand these characters. They really don't have to be explained why they are the way they are. I don't need.
It's fun to think about, though.
It's fun to think about, but obviously you put people, like he who shall not be named. There's a couple of those who just decide they're going to come up with their own fucking backstory, and it just devalues the mystique of these characters. Because sure, some of them you get away with it, but it's I don't need to know. Like, I think about like those Icons of Evil comics that we got. Mm-hmm. Everyone agrees the Trout Drum was the only one worth a damn. At least in my opinion. Sorry? The Icons of Evil by
which one did you say was worth a damn?
Trap Jaws.
I liked Triclopses as well.
See, I didn't like it. I didn't just I just didn't think. I don't know. I just didn't take to it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know. Plus I didn't like seeing him as like he was a good guy, and then he's blinded and just joins up.
If I remember rightly, it's been well over like 10 years since I looked at that comic. I think that Triclops one didn't have like 8 artists or something working on it, so it was all different and every few pages.
I remember being too like because it was not a pretty comic to look at from what I remember.
No,
like, I just did not like the Trap
cover was great.
Consistent. Beastman's was but the art was okay. Was pretty good. Merman's was forgettable, and because it didn't do anything to distinguish that he was a warlord. I remember just being like, okay, that was pretty lame and forgettable, and I won't go back and read that one again. But Trap Jaws was the most interesting and most engaging, I thought. I still like the idea of he comes from, he's like the prison star, I think. Yeah. I still like that idea. He's an interdimensional criminal that shows up. I just don't like the idea that he was a guy named Cronus, and
Yeah, I was never too keen on that.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Jitsu, when you really start to break it down, is the figure comes out wave 384, and it's just sort of given the later wave treatment of not being included in as much stuff either.
Well,
that's kind of strange.
Webster and Cobra Khan weren't given much in terms of like mini comic feature. Like Cobra Khan's featured briefly in the Double-Edged Sword mini comic.
I feel like they got more than Jitsu though.
Because Cobra Khan would show up in other mini, and Webster would show up in a few others as well too. But yeah, Jitsu has his background appearances and a couple of them, and that's it.
Does it go back to the thing that you were talking about at the beginning of the show about the whole evil Asian thing and them not wanting to tread in that territory as much?
I don't know. James even mentioned that too, but it maybe once they got down the road and they've already put him out, and maybe there's some concerns being brought up, and they're just like, you know what, we want to make sure people are aware of the toy, but just throw him in the background, or just have a one panel with him. Like, he's not going to be the star of a mini comic, and because we don't have any heroic Asian characters to kind of counteract that. At least that with that perception of like, he's evil and he's Asian, that kind of thing. Which I hate that people felt that way, because I get it though. I
still wonder if there's a lot of kind of a bit of urban myth around that, as it were. It's like, I think it was Larry DiTilio, like you say, or Michael Reeves, who said the Jitsu thing about, we ended up not using it as much because it was feared that he was like a racial stereotype. And but like I say, when you look at, as much as like I've looked at the series and the scripts and everything over and over again over the years, to my eyes bleed. There is a thing where it's like, I can't see any evidence that Jitsu was ever going to appear again anyway. Like a writer was going, I'm going to write a script with Jitsu. Oh, hang on, better not do that. Whereas I can see other scripts where, this character was going to be in that episode, and then, they didn't end up using him. Like Modulok was going to be in She-Ra episode, The Small Problems, and they ended up creating the Horde Scientist character. And just various bits like that. You know all this stuff because you see it over the years. But I've seen no evidence where Chopper, Jitsu, was ever going to Chopper pop up again. It was a case of, I couldn't see him like, here he comes again. It's just, I don't know. It's a bit of a tricky one. Maybe one day I'll find a script and be like, there he is. But
I'd love to know that, because unfortunately, like the powers that be, like Michael Reeves who wrote Dragon Invasion, he's gone. Larry Taylor, he's gone. He's gone. Like, I don't know if Robbie Lundo could answer anything like that.
No, I mean, I've spoken to Robbie quite a bit over the last couple of years, and his thing is very much like, that was a long time ago, man. He loves people talking about it and he loves conversing with people. He said he's not going to be able to remember those specific things from 40 plus years ago now, unfortunately.
And he's convinced that Diamond Raider's appearance was not very good, and I'd argue with him to the death on that one.
Well, let's not forget that.
I did that when we had him on.
I forgot what Nathan was laughing at.
I'm laughing at Tyler.
Oh yeah, because when we had him on, we talked about Diamond Raider, and he was just talking about it wasn't very good. I said, no, it's very good. He's like, it's not really. No, it's very, very good. It's a friendly.
Did you scare him?
I'll take your word for it, kid.
Yeah, that's pretty much like, whatever, kid. But I was just like, really? You don't think it's that good? And I know James has even addressed it as like a checklist episode. Like, this is the But I'm like, I always thought it was something more than that, though, because even and James has brought this up because I love watching James's commentaries and all the videos he's done, except when I can't remember certain things. like three damn Bibles.
You are a patron after all, Tyler. Come on.
Yeah. I'm a taxpayer for his program.
He is, yeah.
But where the hell was I going with this?
Diamond Ray. You were singing the praises of Diamond Ray.
Oh yeah. That the villains.
I like how he's sitting here. It's like, you know what? My memory is totally fine. Nothing to see here. Where was I going with that again? Oh yeah. It's been a long work week.
Oh.
Anyway, but James made a point to say that, or alluded to that, the villains are given like an actual individual introduction, but the heroes are not.
No.
They show up. It's like, you're here, they're here. Here's the royal family. Here's the royal palace characters. Then like the battle at Grayskull, it's like, here's Stratos. Here's Ram Man. They're not name checked. Stratos, Winged Warrior, get evil in. Yeah. They just come into the battle, but that's why I feel like it's more than just a checklist episode. It's introducing all the key players, but done in a way that's like, you want to be familiar. Like, you have to have some way of.
Of course,
I'm telling you, growing up watching so many cartoons with so many cool heroes and villains, they're not name checked a lot, and it drives me crazy. Like, what is his name? I don't know what his name is, and they just don't say it. And it would be years later, or like I would come across an episode where like they finally said this guy's name, and it's important
at that point in time when you're seeing these characters and you don't know their name, do you yourself just name them? Do you give them names on your own accord?
I want to say I thought maybe I tried doing something like that. I think when I didn't know cloth was in, before I could read, I would just like the guy with the claw, you know, the big claw, and I remember Rio Blast. Like I could not pronounce his name and never knew what the hell his name was up until I think seeing it in print, like in a toy guide or something like that, because one of my buddies was convinced he was a RoboCop figure. I was like, the hell he is? He's a He-Man figure.
There's a distinct difference between Mattel action figure and Kenner.
But I'm like, he just saw it as like, no, it's RoboCop. Like, do you really want me to hold my RoboCop figure next to this? And you tell me that it's from the same line? He wouldn't trade comics either. It used to piss me off all the time. But I just kind of went along with it. And I didn't know Extendar's name. I had no idea he was even an action figure. I thought he was just a character for the Snake Attack mini comic. So
it's okay. Some people still don't know that Extendar exists.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Which
So,
I'm just like, part of me is just like, I want to put a blanket around. It's like, come here. There's so much more for you to know. And then I'm like, do you really want to know? Or are you one of those guys that just says, I love He-Man? Who's that?
Yeah, what's it?
Like,
and then go on and on.
and
about
then somehow
how they
take
wore
that
out a
guy and
VHS
hire
tape.
him to write a He-Man movie. Like, yeah, I remember He-Man. I had got He-Man toys for my birthday, and I had like a T-shirt with He-Man. Hire that man. Clearly, he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
One of the back in the, like, I'd say 10, 20 years ago, one of the questions I think many of us that ran websites always used to get, it was always, it's so funny to look back on. The question you always get is, what's the name of He-Man's cat? Every time. It was like, it became like a running joke in the community. It was like, I'm sure Aidan Cross got one, Val got one, Emiliana got, you just get like the, hey, what's the name of He-Man's cat? It's like Battle Cat. It's just like, I mean, even back then you could still look, you know, Google wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
You could go on
use Ask Jeeves.
or Alta Vista. You just search for like He-Man's cat. You could find Battle Cat. It was pretty easy, but yeah. Even back then, people were too bloody lazy to use the internet. Oh God!
It's just I can be forgivable about a lot of stuff because I don't claim to know everything. Like I love talking Marvel comics, but there's a shit ton I do not know. But I just feel like when people come in and they start talking like they know He-Man, or know, and I feel like when they want to approach me and mention they like He-Man, I'll go too far in one brief anecdote, and it's like they're a deer in headlights. Because there's like, who is that guy? And I'm like, okay, you're like the general populace. Like you remember it. Maybe you had a toy or two, and that's about it. And it's like it's so hard.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, but Tyler, I have the same story. I was at my previous job, and a girl was wearing a Raphael Ninja Turtle shirt, and I was like, hey, what's up?
Going?
I was like, oh, hey, like Ninja Turtles, huh? I was like, da-da-da. And she was like, yeah, you know, and their nemesis Splinter. And I was like, huh?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God.
What? I was like, yeah, I think I just like politely, I was like, okay. And then walked away. I was like, I'm not, there's no point.
When I come across it, if I feel comfortable, I'll correct them. But for the most part, I just leave it alone because you know what? I'm just their brain's gonna fry me trying to explain this, and I don't want to be one of those internet weirdos who just won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I've said before, this is why I barely use social media to say, look at this, look at that, da-da-da. But I rarely go into those groups or fan pages or groups. Yeah, I guess they're still called. I don't go into those and have conversations because it's just. The last time I did, when I was talking about Series Bible, someone was just going, that's not correct. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck do I know? You know, about Series Bible. It just became so pointless. Like I was like, why am I even like, because bless him, Yuka Isaac-Heinen always tags me and stuff. Not always, I shouldn't say that, but if Yuka sees someone saying something which he knows to be like a barefaced lie, but this person's saying it because they want to feel special, Yuka will be like, look at what this person said. Do you want to jump in? And I'll say, like, not really. Or
got to call in the backup.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll turn up ready and I'll say, oh, actually. And then it's just like, oh, no, I've just made this person double down now. So it's like, don't bother.
There's no point.
I just think across all fandom, whether it doesn't matter if it's He-Man, Transformers, Star Wars, Star Trek, why people just feel like, okay, if I got that wrong about He-Man, I would want to know.
Yes.
Like, where is the harm in like just being corrected? Like, if our evidence is here, I remember arguing with some idiot who was claiming Faker was a clone, not a robot. I said, dude, he's a robot. He's like, and I just showed him the car and he shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But still, it's just like, where's the harm? It's like, dude, we're not trying to sit there and say you're an idiot. Just saying like, no, skeletal skin is blue. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's like purple. Like,
hey man, it's like that dude in KB trying to convince me that Ultimate Warrior's finish was the Gorilla Press. I'm like, no, it's the splash, you dumbass.
Wow.
No, it's the Gorilla Press. I'm like, no, that's the setup for the splash.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And I remember that incident so well too, and just, but I just feel like people are so like James. I couldn't do it. That's why I didn't. That was the one time I actually engaged with someone over a brief argument. Why people feel like, you know, when you correct them and they still, like you said, they want to double it down on and still argue. Why?
I'm going to annoy a lot of people.
Like,
I think.
Well, don't you want to become a more intelligent fan as opposed to just meat with eyes?
I mean, I'm going to annoy a lot of people probably the next couple of weeks. I'm going to do one of my graphics. I've decided to create a new one about when He-Man and She-Ra first debuted in both UK and America, because my usual one that I send out, which is like 40 years, 41 years. I did 42 years this year, and it got shared. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Was probably the biggest post I've ever done online, where I just posted it and it got shared like 900 times and it got liked 4,000 times. I was like, oh, I've never had anything like that. But what that meant was a lot of people going, yeah, He-Man first debuted in America on this day. And I was like, no, it literally says on the thing, premiered in the UK, and then asterisk, it would later debut on the. So anyway, I noticed a lot of people the other day saying, yeah, She-Ra, she debuted on the 9th. I'm like, I've literally got the classic Star Comics ad where it says, which we've all seen.
Yeah, I know the one.
She-Ra debuts 23rd of September. It's the same date He-Man's second half of second season debuted. I've got an internal Filmation memo that I've shown online which says She-Ra's first episode, 23rd, but everybody's like, oh, the 9th is now the new day she premiered. I'm like, what?
I've come to the understanding, James, that people just don't read. They don't read. They don't look at stuff.
I think there's an element of that, but like Tyler said, there's an element of when I think the worst people you can encounter, we've all been there, is like when you go, oh, actually, and then they don't want to be seen to ever be wrong, so they double down, and you're like, oh, you're doubling down. I mean, on my channel, I have people correct me for stuff, and I'm always like, oh, wow, I didn't know that, or oh, I got it wrong. Not like, well, I think it's just like, no, I can happily accept when I made an error or something.
I love his impression, like, yay, She-Ra, give me land.
But it is like, the funny thing is when, you know, I see people like now going on about the 5th of September, the day He-Man first aired, and it's like, yes, in the UK. It's so funny that young kid, or the teenage James Eatock, walking into a magazine shop in 1993, going into the basement, going through all the issues of the TV Times, the UK TV guide, as it were, 4 channels, and me trying to figure out when He-Man first aired. I had a rough idea. I was like, it would have been 83, it would have been summer, going through it, and I found it. And I've still got an illustration I did the same day where I was like, He-Man debuted on this day. I drew a picture. I didn't think all these years later that would be misinformation. And everybody going, He-Man, it's like, no, you've still got another week or so. Sorry.
Well, speaking of which, James, you have a particular video dropping on your channel tomorrow. Link down below. Go subscribe to that. He's been working on this for a while now.
For a week too long is what I've been doing.
Yeah, he's pretty much been working on this straight. But James, let the people know what you got coming out tomorrow. As of this recording, if you're watching this weeks after the fact, this is September 12th. So
yeah, weeks later, I died. Imagine that.
No.
But what a way to go out! What a final video. No, yeah, it's I've spent a good month or so working on it, on and off, which is the 40 years of Filmation She-Ra. So yeah, I'm going to do a video I wasn't going to do a video because I planned out this year, and then I decided I really should. And then I sat down. I think I told a few people. I said, like, I don't know why I'm doing this so close to but I'll give it a shot. And I started writing, and then the script blossomed, and I was like, yeah, I guess this is happening now. And yeah, started putting it together. Got all the the information that I'd either forgotten about or just never read properly before. It's like, oh, She-Ra was originally Leela. It was originally going to be Teela's twin sister. The sorceress was going to be in She-Ra. It's just like, oh, this is really fascinating. The sorceress's falcon ally was going to be called Swiftwind. All these wonderful things you can find out.
These are all new tidbits.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You find out tomorrow. You get to hear all the big titty bits or tidbits.
Is it tidbits?
Tig biddies.
Titty bits.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'll be there.
It's yeah, I'll be first.
That's only the name of a strip club, Titty Bits.
Yeah. But yeah, the videos come together so nicely. But it's crazy because I finished it, and then I thought, I was getting all these submissions, and I thought I want to get more submissions in, like people saying, for the honor of Grayskull, and these two gentlemen, I'm going to point in the right direction.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
We're
when
both
it's
like,
reversed. Yeah, some of the more grounded ones, I would say. But there's been a lot of fun submissions. My favourite thus far is one guy who holds up a carrot, and I'm like, where's this going? He goes, for the honor of Grayskull, and then he feeds his donkey, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good already.
It's great because you just don't see it coming. It's like, he's got a carrot. It's like, oh, he's got a donkey.
The donkey's name is Swiftwind.
Yes, it's actually as well. No, I forget the donkey's name, but yeah, I credit the donkey as well in the video. But yeah, the video comes together nicely. But yeah, I'd kind of finished it last week, and then this week I thought I'm going to add another 5 minutes where I just show development artwork. So you get like She-Ra development, Hordak, and Bow, and Glimmer, and Catra as well. And I was just like,
I always liked her precursor name, like Hera, or
yeah, I talk about that as well.
Yeah,
like,
I always thought that was so cool when Larry DeTiller mentioned that on the I think it was the Best of She-Ra, or
yeah,
the
I think it
episodes,
was.
I think.
Because I first heard that, I remember thinking, like, that doesn't make sense. Hera. And then he said, because it mirrored He-Man. It's like, oh, of course it does. And I even, in this video, I've got that kind of rarely seen She-Ra version of the He-Man logo, where it's kind of like in the She-Ra aesthetic. And when you put it above Hera and He-Man, it's like, oh, wow, they really do work together.
That would have been pretty cool.
It would have been interesting.
I'm glad we got She-Ra, but that was still pretty cool, though, I thought.
The other thing when I was making the video, at times when I'm recording the thing, I kept forgetting how I say She-Ra. I was like, do I say She-Ra or She-Ra? I kept going, my brain was going. Like, when you say something so much, I was like,
yeah,
right, so blah, 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 She-Ra. No, She-Ra. No, that's not right. And then you get the writers who would always refer to her as one name. So they would say Shera, like a lot of the writers, because they would write She-Ra without the hyphen. I'm just like, it's so confusing. I don't know what the right thing to say anymore is. But yeah, the video, touch wood, tomorrow, like it should be all done. Although as I've been doing this with you guys, I've been getting submissions pop up. So it's like, oh, I've got to add these submissions now.
James will be burning in the midnight oil, and
I really will.
I mean, he already is.
Oh yeah, he is with us right now. Yeah, he's up at
2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, you better go get yourself another cup or 4 of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
couple of Coke Zeros. Put down a couple of Coke Zeros there.
Oh, they don't do anything. They just make you want to go to the toilet.
Yeah. Same for me. Yeah,
I guess you need some Jolt Cola or something like that. I don't know if you guys had Jolt Cola over there.
No, we never. I know of Jolt Cola but no, we never had Jolt Cola. Our kind of off-brand Coca-Cola for the longest time in the 80s was called Panda Cola. It was just like you knew when you went around a friend's house, when you went around a friend's house and they had Panda Cola, you knew they were poor.
Like they had toast for breakfast and Panda Cola.
It's like,
some store brand sodas were actually pretty good. Like over here, like knockoff brand of Dr. Pepper was always good.
You guys are giving
Dr.
PTSD
Thunder,
on this
Dr.
episode.
Perky. Yeah.
Oh no.
It was always good, but the
Panda Cola, there you go.
Yeah. That's how you know.
Is it like a China import?
No, it's just some British drink called Panda Cola. There's great knockoff ones. Like we've got a chocolate bar over here, like chocolate and biscuit. and it's called a Penguin. And Penguin bars have been around for like the longest time, but there's a knockoff brand called Puffin bars because they're like, well, we can't do penguins, so we'll just call them another bird. So we'll have got Puffin bars.
Dude, I have seen I've seen puffins in the wild with my own eyes.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, up in the waters of Alaska. I see here though, beside of Panda Cola, is a Happy Shopper Cola, and then Rolla Cola.
Yeah, Roller Cola. Shopper Cola. I remember Happy Shopper is like a chain of shops that was like a very cheap place to go. But you don't hear it. I think they've all closed down now.
Yeah,
Happy Shoppers.
15p. You can get yourself a Happy Shopper Cola.
It was either that or an extra 10 pence and buy a Marvel comic in the 80s. Good times.
I'm going to go with the latter there.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to some of the questions. And
I'm going to take a quick bathroom break then real quick. While if you want to, you can keep going if you want. I'll be real fast or
you just got to piss your pants. No, you go.
No, I got like a beer bottle. I remember having to do that on a camping trip. I said, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go piss in the rain."
What are you, a camel? Oh, let's see. I mean, this is a compliment for our Wave 4 Vintage Cardbacks tier list. This comes from Cascades 9130. Truly love this tier episode and the trip back down memory lane. I remember the memories of these figures, like where I got them, when I got them, and who I was gifted them by.
That's
beautiful
awesome.
Time to remember. So thank you for that comment. We actually just got that one today. So I appreciate people going back and checking out those older episodes. Here are some from our Return of the Shredder episode that we did last week. Mike Lomax saying, that was a great episode, which I remember seeing on children's BBC. One thing I remember when I first saw it, I thought there was an episode before this. Yes, there had to have been. Only found out about the first season when my brother got a video of highlights from that season. But I came across picture books of those episodes. I also came across books of the original comic book. Was going to buy those the next time I was back down the street. Sadly, all those books were gone. I made mention of that, James, at the beginning, that in the UK, that was the first episode that you guys got. So that's nuts.
It's very weird. It's not like I think I said to you and Tyler in a message afterwards. It's crazy that we got, the Return of the Shredder, and so we got basically what you guys had got in 3 years. We got in the space of a year. Because you'd had 87 to 90, we got 90. Here's everything that came before us. It was just like, oh my god, we got all these episodes, all these toys, all these comics. It's very overpowering. Ninja Turtles, Tyler, just in case.
Yeah, Hero Turtles for James.
Which when James told us that 1990, like they got the movie, cartoon, the toys are piling in, like.
It was huge.
That would have been pretty damn epic. I mean, I thought what we got, was pretty awesome. But to have it all snowball into 1 year, it would have been mind blowing to think.
It was freaky. But like I think I said to you, and I've said on the commentaries, like Return of the Technodrome, end of season 2, they go into the lava. It's like, oh my god, they're dead. Literally, the following week is the next episode. Beneath these streets, it's like, oh, they're alive. Whereas in America, you guys had to wait for the next season, which was like a whole, I worked out, it was like a year or 13 months or something, because it was, I think it was like September season 2 ends, and then I forget, but I was just like, wow, we got it just non-stop. Plus we had oh my god, that bloody, still one of my favorite arcades of all time, that Ninja Turtles 4-player.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, there's nothing greater than that. That amazing. Turtles in Time, the 4-player.
Oh, well, I didn't have a Super Nintendo at the time, but as soon as that came, I remember like the first time I saw that, I went into a Japanese magazine shop in London, and I was obviously big into anime, so I was like, and I saw this video game magazine. I was like, oh wow, and I was flicking through. I was like, what the hell? And it was showing Turtles in Time. I was like, I remember the image that made me think like this game looks magnificent was the bit when, and it's such a great bit of direction when you see Shredder's point of view, and he's in the thing, and it's the cartoon version of the Shredder's like from behind.
Yeah.
And you've got what have you got to fire?
You got to throw the foot soldiers
at the thing. Yeah.
Oh god,
that video, like that was so good. I remember seeing. I only saw that in the arcade a couple of times.
I was overwhelmed because I came across it in an arcade in Richmond, and I got up to the cave the dinosaur level, but to throw foot soldiers at the screen, I was like, what the hell did I do that? And then to realize I had to do that to beat Shredder was like, I couldn't believe it. It was
I still love that first level. You're on the the
Big
construction
Apple,
site.
3 a.m.
Big Apple, 3 a.m. And you get
Alley Cat Blues.
Krang, and then you get Baxter Stockman is one of my favorite. Oh my god,
it's so cool.
And his device, like the ray gun with the hand. Yes.
I've always heard it as toothpaste. He hit you with a hand of toothpaste.
But it just strikes me as like what I loved about those arcades, those games in general, was they were so accurate to the cartoon.
Oh god, yeah.
There wasn't like, well, here's our version, we're going to do this. It was just like, oh no, you like guys like one of the interesting twists they did, I thought, in Turtles in Time, is when they gave them you had the mode where you could make them, I think they called it comic book mode, and they each had the different color turtles.
Yeah, you changed the colors,
and they didn't have pupils,
eyes.
so the white eyes. I was like, that's a really nice touch.
I don't remember that. I guess I just didn't know you could do that, or didn't look to see if you could do anything.
It was in comic. I think it was on the Super Famicom. It was like comic book mode or something. I was like, oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, and the fact that the Super Nintendo port was so great.
Well, it used. What was it on the future one? They used
the mode 7.
Yeah, mode 7. That was it.
Yeah.
And you see Krang in the distance.
Oh man!
Then he just comes up.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack to that game
was amazing in that game. Well, what the name of that level? Because the next level is Starbase, where no turtle has gone before. What is the name of the one where you got to fight in Krang's android body? Where you're fighting on the hoverboard in the future.
Yeah. I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember the name of the level.
I feel like it's got the year in it, like 2086 or something.
I mean, I know like Barry Marshall at Wounded Knee. And,
yes. Oh my God.
God, it's just like.
I
love the Barry Marshall Wounded Knee music. That it's like, oh my God, I just want to go kick some ass,
I forget which one it is. I don't know if it's the arcade or the Super Famicom one, but it's got randomly one of the villains in it is the like the clay monster from
that's the end of the dinosaur level.
Yeah, yes, that's the arcade.
That's the arcade. Yeah, because the Super Nintendo it's Slash, which that's what I always thought it was Slash.
Yeah,
I didn't know until I think playing a port with Nathan that it was the clay monster that you had to fight at the end of that level.
Yeah, I'll admit that back when using ringtones were still a thing, I
was going to bring this up, so I'm glad you're going to do it.
What's this?
I did indeed make my ex-girlfriend's ringtone the boss battle music from Turtles in Time. So anytime she would call, I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
He told me he did that, and she was pissed about that too.
I mean, understandably so.
But I mean, we would. I mean, we all like it's just harmless fun, but I could see why a woman would be quite like, why would you do that? Because it's funny, and you're probably gonna bring me some shit.
Other comments that we got on the Return of the Shredder episode, Casey Duncan saying this was so fun, really great job as always. And then Brian Clifton, I collected the Mirage series before the cartoon aired. I was initially shocked about how kiddie they were. I eventually came to appreciate the series. I still think Shredder should have overthrown Krang. I wasn't a fan of a whining Shredder, though he did have some good moments. I think Krang should have been afraid of Shredder and build him the tech. I like the 2000 series the most for being most accurate to the Mirage material. Great stuff as always. And that got me thinking of just the 2012 series and how overall I think that's my favorite iteration of Turtles.
So many I weirdly was in America when that series premiered. I remember I was in America for it was either PowerCon or something. I remember being in my hotel room in Los Angeles. And it was like, and now it's the premiere of and I was like, oh, that's a new, and it was the CGI one. And I was just like, wow. And everybody I've ever heard talk about that just really sings its praises for I still have yet to properly watch the 2003 cartoon, which I've heard is really, I've always heard good things about that.
The animation looks fantastic. I love the animation. It's the voice acting and just the stories. Like I don't know. I remember went back. I think within the last 10 years and tried to rewatch it, and I was like, yeah,
Just
you know
not.
what, I can't do this. But the look of it, like, because I was so excited, like we bought the toys, was there when it was airing on Fox, and was watching. I think up until like the when they finally fight the Shredder,
Wow.
and I don't know for whatever reason, and then I think the episode where Casey Jones debuts, and I didn't like his voice acting. It was the same day that Roboto Gambit was airing, the same day.
Oh wow.
And I remember being like,
Nice.
that disappointed me. Roboto's Gambit kicked ass. So I was just kind of like, you know, all right. But I kind of just checked out. My brother stuck with, like, he watched it profusely. Like he was all about it, and he bought the DVDs and stuff. And I never could quite get into it.
But Nathan, you were like big into the CG one.
Yeah, I really
it is good.
Yeah, it's the style of it at first was always a big turnoff, but once you just put it on and start watching, you're just like, the jokes are hitting, the story's flowing well, what they're doing with other characters and bringing them into the fold are interesting takes too. Of course, it's got its missteps as it goes along
April
towards
and
the
Casey
end.
Jones are by far the biggest. Like I thought they were portrayed poorly. Like April's not horrible, but she's a kid, you know, and Casey Jones is a kid too. Like this doesn't work, but the rest of it, in terms of like Shredder and the Foot Clan, bringing the Krang in and all the various mutants and doing a few different versions of like classic characters, like, you know, like Tiger Claw is a new villain, like wonderful villain for the show. And
I actually know that. I've seen that character, so I must have seen something about it. Yeah.
Or like how they bring in, instead of Bebop and Rocksteady show up later on, but Fishface and Dogpound become like the kind of main henchmen, wow. and there you see them in human form for several episodes before they're transformed. So you have a lot of continuity going on there, kind of building the world around them. And
the funniest thing is, like, if anyone's critical of like those two shows you mentioned, the 2003 and the 2012 Turtles, and it's like, you know, it's not the same as the 80s one. It's like, you know, let's be honest. I think I speak for a majority of people that say, yeah, kind of check out midway through season 3 and then that's it.
Yeah. It's
like,
always been that way.
And it went on until what? I think the original series went on for like 10 years or something. 193 episodes, 193. Yeah,
because honestly, when it over here, it was on the Fox network, and then CBS picked it up on Saturday mornings, and I kind of was not digging the quality. I just was watching like, this doesn't feel right. It's just something about this I'm just not into as much.
Going back to what I said before about like how we had so much Turtles at once, I think it was overkill because, like I say, we didn't get season 1. We got obviously season 2, and we went straight into season 3. And it was every week Turtles was on, which was kind of unheard of because other cartoons would be on in blocks. It's like, oh, we're going to show He-Man for like 10 weeks, and then we're going to show She-Ra, we're going to show Inspector Gadget or Plastic Man or Hulk. With Turtles, because they knew it was so popular, it was just like Turtles every week on BBC. Turtles. And I think it just kind of, after a while, I still remember like the day at school when everybody went in the following day, and it was just, I think it was Turtles at the Earth's Core. I think that's an episode in season 2. Yeah, I remember everybody was just sort of like, it felt like it sounds crazy for a show that was like so wacky and stuff at times. It felt like it had jumped the shark to some degree.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, so now they're with dinosaurs, and I think the episode isn't visually that great, so it felt very kiddie, which is crazy because it's Ninja Turtles, and it was, you know, obviously supposed to appeal to younger audiences. But then you get like an episode like Turtles on Trial or something. It's just like, oh, this is so good. Why isn't this the norm? You know, but
well, those first 5 episodes, I feel like the tone is quite serious.
It's amazing. No, they're great.
It's even like with the neutrinos showing up. Like, I don't see them as just being this kind of, you know, obnoxious, like kind of kitty version of aliens. It's like, no, I find the tone to be pretty consistent through those first 5 episodes.
I always laugh like when you go back and look at those first 5 episodes, even the comedy is like really dark when the Turtles are above ground and the old granny, monsters, one move and your history, scum.
Now back off.
Now back off. It's just like, nice shitty.
As a kid, I was like, what the hell's with that lady? Like, I thought she was, I don't know. I almost thought she wasn't even an old lady. I was like, okay, this is the one with the machine gun. What the hell is that?
Yeah. And like the because I mean the whole that first episode is basically saying, oh yeah, New York crime, which in the
Yeah.
80s it was ridiculous. It's like, oh yeah, New York crime is so bad. That's the premise of the entire show. And the funniest thing is, I don't think you guys mentioned it on Return of the Shredder, but one of my favorite little jokes in that episode, Shredder arrives, right, in Central Park. It's like, where am I? And they're like, got a more important question. How much money you got in that stupid costume of yours? And he goes, I'm in the Big Apple. It's just like, that's such a great gag.
I know, it is. And yeah, we did mention that, but it's a great line, great delivery by James Avery on that.
Oh, James Avery. It's just the idea that at the moment he's mugged, so he must be.
He knows. It's like he's clearly well aware of what the streets are like. I'm just trying to picture what Oroku Saki was like walking around like, observing New York, or is it just by reputation, or is it like, no, I know where I'm at.
Yeah, I know where I am. There's an episode of Amazing Friends. I think it's the Fantastic Mr. Frump from the show's first season, and I think they're trying to find is it the amulet or something, and they walk into a yeah, it is the Fantastic Mr. Frump. They walk into a pet. No, it's Mr. Frump. He walks into a pet store. I think he's trying to get a job, and he goes, "You got a job?" And the guy goes, "Bog off" or something. And the guy reading the paper, it says. The paper, you see it very briefly. It says like, shocking news: man not mugged in Central Park, and it's a photo of a guy like going, like he didn't get mugged. I love that they were putting in gags like that to their shows. It's like, oh, so good.
And that's what makes the first run of Turtles like so memorable and so enjoyable to watch.
So good.
They're not trying. I mean, and even as a kid, I remember getting the first two episodes on VHS and going back and just watching all the jokes that just went right over my head as a kid. It was completely close that they were even trying to be funny at all. Like I just thought was serious, like their interactions with observing the streets of New York while April's, taking them above ground.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what, cut the cards, Slim.
That's one of my cut the cards,
Slim. Yeah. And Leo cuts it and just being as a kid, like trying to remember everyone's names and April's getting them all wrong. And
getting all wrong, yeah.
I can relate because
I'm Donatello.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's just good stuff.
What? We're here.
Oh yeah. And the line for like Ninja Video Rental, I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
I
was like Ninja Dentist. Ouch.
Ouch. I can't get it. There's something suspicious about this neighborhood.
I always like the gag as well like April's purse, and he's like, yeah, I know April's pass, and he's like, I know that one of chewing gum anywhere.
As a kid, I'm like, man, rap's really good.
Yeah, there's so many.
April's purse. Come on.
Yeah,
I still get pumped, and I told Townsend Coleman when I met him, I said, the line of dialogue with Michelangelo's like, robots, let's rock, and then
let's rock. Yeah,
I get chills. I said, I get so pumped when he says that, and I just want to let him know his delivery of that line just resonates with you to this day because I just thought it was so ass kicking.
And what did he say? He's like, "That's nice, kid."
No, he was very enthusiastic.
What's your name? Travis?
Trent. No, those guys are cool as shit. Like those guys love their fans, and they are. I mean, he yelled. He wanted to do a big loud cowabunga with me in front of everybody, and then high five. Like he didn't do that with everybody. So,
oh man, well, look at you. I didn't get to go to that because the poster that I bought didn't show up in time.
That one. Oh.
Well, I didn't get to meet Cam Clark, so it wasn't. Yeah. I was shortchanged, but he had to go do one of those damn panels.
Yeah, which actually, I have a comment that's going to tie that all together like poetry, so that it rhymes. This is, I guess, I don't know if they are a new listener or it's been around for a while that didn't specify, but this is the first time I've ever seen them comment on something. This comes from God Ravage. So this is on the Stench of Evil mini comic makeover episode that we had. Pretty lengthy, so bear with me. I loved the story as a child and still do today. I love the art. I love the story. Not every adventure has to be a planet-conquering, universe-destroying thing. I love the art, the simplicity of Skeletor just spying on the heroes of Eternia with their animal friends and just being disgusted by them being happy. It's very Grinch-like. It makes him just such a gross character. He wants to ruin their day because he is hateful and petty, so he sends his stinky henchmen to rain on their picnic. I just love it. I love the pink sorceress. I love the gloomy scene of Skeletor riding through the dark forest to find Stinkor. I will concede that Mossman not being able to talk to wildlife was weak, but they are trying to work with the sorceress. They're trying to work the sorceress into the story, and it's a mini comic. Now, bear with me though, Tyler. I know you're like, wait a minute. There's a limited real estate. The comic can't be too flashy. I love the use of Stinkor's stench power. They really painted him out to be a true menace, and it was amazing. This comic has lived in my memory since I was 7 years old, and I loved the use of Mossman's oxygen being able to counter the bad air. Very plant-like in a nice way to show the figure's action feature / power. I also feel that this being the early days of Mossman, nobody quite knew what his role would be yet. We know him now as the master of the forest and can talk to plants and animals, but this comic is leaning more into the role on the card back as master of camouflage. So it has him doing more of the disappearing into the greens actions and using this power to steer Skeletor into his trap. Then went on to say, I guess that was a comment. Probably Paul's left the comment as we were talking about it because, to be fair, we were kind of, and deservedly so, we were kind of picking out a lot of things and saying.
Hey, but you know what? If he was a big fan of it, then I think that's great. I got no problem with that.
But so after hearing how you would have written this comic, I have to say, I like your idea much better. That was fantastic. you should have been a writer. So there was that one, and then after that, got another one. And Tyler, this is when you and I were talking about the conventions. You were talking about your shitty HeroCon experience.
Oh,
sorry, I'm commenting so much. And that part of it, when I put my reply, I'm like, absolutely not. Leave all the comments that you want. But sorry, I'm commenting so much. But your convention story is reminding me so much of my experience meeting Peter Cullen at MegaCon a few years ago. I wanted both his and Frank Welker's autograph because I'm a huge Transformer fan and both of the voice actors were going to be there. I got into line as soon as the convention opened and the line was already around the building. On top of standing there waiting for your turn, every 30 minutes, Peter would have to get up and do a panel or a private photo shoot. Then you had fans who had bought a special pass that allowed them to cut in line and go right to the front whenever they wanted to meet him. We even had one woman pull up with a wheelbarrow of Optimus Prime Funko Pops for him to sign. It was such bullshit. Fuck? Yeah.
That's not right.
We even had fans pissing themselves in line. At one point, it smelled so bad, my friend had to run to the bathroom and throw up, and he never came back.
I was going to say, that's just a normal convention, isn't it?
I said that's par for the course.
Yeah.
I had to wait in line alone. Altogether, I was in that line for 8 hours.
Oh.
Yes. I did finally get to meet him and get his autograph, and I would not take any of that back for anything. But it was so disorganized and ridiculous. I spent my whole day in Peter's line until the convention was closed. I never even got to meet Frank Welker. Yeah, that sucks.
Oh my God, that's a shit story, man. I hate to hear that.
Got to meet Peter Cullen in the end, but bloody hell.
Yeah, I hate that they these conventions like.
It's how that piss poorly they're run though most of the time.
Yeah,
and
they really don't care
Greedy.
what you're there for. You bought a ticket to come in, so it's all on you if you want to spend.
You didn't get the VIP pass. Well, double fuck you too, I guess.
I think the first time I became aware of how like conventions were really fucking people over was I did San Diego Comic-Con in 05 and 06 when I was part of the BCI release thing, right? So I get to go there and enjoy the convention. Then it still frustrates me to this day when I think about it. When I went back in 2014 with Serial Geek, I had a table, shared it with Val, and it's like, right, here we go, Serial Geek, and then it was like, the first thing was like, we're kind of, I was aware of Artists Alley. I remember there in 05 and 06. Yeah, Artists Alley was awesome. In 05 and 06, I went there with, I think in 05, I took a couple of photos of my now ex-girlfriend, and I got different artists to illustrate her. And they I had like cool. an art. Oh, it was great. I had like an Archie artist, animators, Marvel artists, and they all did different versions. But I still kept those sketches. I gave them to her, but I kept the scans. Really nice artwork. And the following year, I took model sheets of Tila. And again, I had different artists do different versions, like all different interpretations of T. I've got some really nice ones. The best being Francesco's, which is there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I can't get it now. Yeah.
I don't think I'd seen that before.
Yeah, that was in the first issue of Serial Geek. That was
Because I know I only had like 2 issues of Serial Geek. I had the one with the Amazing Friends on the front cover, I think.
oh, issue 6. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I had one other one. I wanted to buy more, but money was so limited at the time.
So bloody well. One, they're these days they're so expensive, and I can barely afford to publish them, or sorry, to post them. And yeah, like I lost so much stock when everything went down in San Diego. But yeah, when I went back in 2014, so I've been in 05 and 06, and it was like, oh, this is San Diego Comic Con. Go back in 2014. My friend Marianne was with me, and I was like, "You're going to love it." And she enjoyed it, but she was like, "What is this convention supposed to be?" Because in 05 and 06, comics everywhere.
Yes.
In 2014, there was this huge booth that I forget. It was bigger than a house. It was massive. And it was for like an HBO series about World War. And I was like, well, what's this got to do? There's superheroes in it? And you realize that at this point it was like, oh, whoever's got money, San Diego Comic Con will go like, floor space? Yeah, but it's not comics. Oh, no, it's fine. Just give us the money. You can have floor space. What have you got to shill? And it was just like, when I went in 2014, I was like, I don't think I'll ever be coming back here again, because it wasn't a convention anymore. I mean, it wasn't a comic animation. It didn't. All the comic stuff was over there in the corner. It's like, oh, you like comics? You go over there to the little comic section with the weirdos. We're all here playing big video games and big movies. And look, there's Robert Downey Jr. or someone else from a big Marvel movie that's gonna, fucking walk on stage for half an hour.
It's like anytime anyone gets a whiff that I can smell the money, then it's almost, it's not over per se, but it kind of is, at least for the people that would go all the time.
I think in terms of a business, completely understand that decision. If HBO came to you guys tomorrow and said, right, talk about this bollocks that has nothing to do with He-Man or comics or anything, we'll pay you, $10,000 per episode. You'd be like,
I'm there.
Yeah, sure.
I'm there.
No problem.
I'll do it.
And you think like they're probably being offered way more at San Diego Comic Con as well. It's like, you're going to have a booth that takes up this much. We'll pay you this much. And it makes sense. But I think the real tragedy with San Diego Comic Con is you go back to its earliest, mid 70s, and you see those black and white photos where it's like Kirby, Stan Lee, John Buscema, all these guys,
free autographs and
free
stuff.
autographs, just like young John Byrne, like all these wonderful artists, young Walter Simonson, all these guys just chatting to the fans like, and even back then they dealt with animation, because in the Vic Dale Kelly interview on my channel, Vic Dale Kelly goes to San Diego Comic Con in, what year was that, 79 or 80, and there's flyers for Filmation, come and be an animator, and he was like, I'll give this a shot. It's like, it's crazy, like to think that what the San Diego Comic, I understand growth, and San Diego Comic Con is very worthy of the popularity it gained, but unfortunately, like the industry itself, the bubble kind of burst, and it's like, comics really aren't the commodity they used to be.
Well, I feel like the ones I go to, in much like HeroCon, there was a shit ton of comic vendors, and they were all busy.
HeroesCon is run by Carla, isn't it? Carla, as in, she used to. Well, she was a big part of the He-Man and She-Ra community. She used to attend power cons and organize power cons.
I do not know.
Carla Marsh.
The first one I went to, Val was there
Val's
doing
involved.
announcements over the intercom.
Yeah,
I remember he had mentioned it to me. I'm like, I had no idea that was you.
Yeah. Like, HeroesCon, I don't know if it was the brainchild of Carla, but she has run it for so many years, and from what I know, like, that is an actual comic convention still.
Oh, it is. Like, it's one vendor, to tie it back into He-Man. Someone had an original cover of Star Comics issue, I think it was 9 or 8, the one with Ninjor and Faker and He-Man and Blast Attack on. Yeah, it was original black and white.
Wow.
And I briefly looked at the price, and I tell you, one of those things too that has always bothered me about going to comic shows, as where I always like going to look at keys, but it's always almost as like, I'm better off looking on eBay for a key issue than trying to buy it from a vendor, because they are charging ungodly price. And I'm like, I don't assume that they're willing to haggle, because the price is so fucking high. It's almost like they're there to brag about what they've got. Giant size X-Men #1, Amazing Spider-Man #6. Like, dude, I wouldn't have enough money in my lifetime to afford that.
It's gone beyond that, Tyler. Like, if you go to an antique shop, and it doesn't even have to be a key issue, but if it's something that's like a little bit higher in value, let's say like $40 or so, they'll have them priced at like $60, and you go and you look on eBay, and I can get a copy for $30.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And so I don't know what the mindset is with any of it. It's like, if you really want to get a decent eBay range, you need to not just look at stuff that's on buy it now. You need to just set it to all the sold listings and go from there, I think. But
and that reminds me too. I went to a comic show in Roanoke a couple years ago, and this was like around the time the Shang-Chi movie had come out.
Mm-hmm.
But I always want to get an issue with the first appearance of Razor Fist and Shang-Chi. This guy was asking $120 for a character that most people don't give a fuck about.
Razorpig, the guy who's dressed like
kind of like an S&N guy with blades for hands. Like, he's got razor, but he doesn't have hands. He's got razor blades for hands.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Razorback. Sorry, there's a character.
No, this is Razor Fist.
Right, okay, Razor Fist.
He's a really obscure event, but I thought he was a fun character for Shang-Chi to find. It's $120. Like, dude, like, I know the movie's getting ready to come out, but come on. I went on eBay and bought the same copy for $30. And I did it out of spite. I really just was like, fuck you. I bought this for $30,
There's one...
And all the vendors were like that, though. They were all charging ungodly prices for minor key issues. Or that's a really... it was just like... And I'm looking around. Everyone here is dressed up in a costume. Like, they're not here to look at comic books.
No,
they're just there to say, I'm dressed like Spider-Man. I'm dressed like the Crow. I'm dressed like Harley Quinn. What do you fucking do? If that's what you want, that's fine. But no one's there to buy comics. And these guys, these assholes, are charging, like... Did you really think anyone was going to come here and buy this particular issue for $2,000? Who the hell's coming here for $2,000?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Like, then my dad walks in, and he's just like, "Oh, here you go."
yeah. And then Nathan's dad walks in there. Nathan, you want this? Not really, but if you want to buy it for me, like, all right. Will Tyler be upset? Yeah.
There's some really good like comic shops still in Los Angeles. Like last time I was there, or was the time before. I was in actually Los Angeles and San Diego. I went to this amazing. I just looked up. I rarely do this when I'm on holiday. I thought, I'll look up comic shops in where I'm at. I was in San Diego. I think it was probably about 20. It was the same week that Burt Reynolds passed away. I remember that much because I remember like being in San Diego and going,
that's
like,
a way to remember.
No, Burt Reynolds passed away. Loved it, Burt Reynolds. And this comic shop, I just looked it up. I was like, oh, I'll go to a comic shop. Just saw the name, walked in, and it was like a proper old school comic shop. It was big, and it was long. It went down, and it was just full of. It was like I'd never seen a shop with that many back issues, and I was like, oh my god! It was like being a kid again when you walk into a comic shop for the first time, just like going through all these back issues. Going, I remember I was so excited buying back issues. I bought like 10 or so. Came back to the UK. I was like, oh, I already have like 5 of these already, but I bought them anyway. It was a bunch of McFarlane Spider-Mans and stuff. And there was a really nice comic shop in downtown Los Angeles. My friend Lee and I went in there. That was when I bought the most expensive comic I ever bought, which probably isn't nothing compared to most people. But I was just like, there was a copy of, I think I showed it on the episode where we went through my comic collection. It was Mighty Thor. God, I want to say 114 or 115. It's the one where it's the second appearance of the Absorbing Man, but it's the conclusion of the issue is when the Absorbing Man reveals himself to Thor.
Yes, I know the one.
Like, oh, here it is. I think the story is like, in my hands this hammer, and on the cover it's like Thor over a furnace kind of thingy in his hammer, and the Absorbing Man in the background. I remember going to into this comic shop in Los Angeles thinking like, I really want that. Like I could buy it in London, but I was just like, I kind of want it. It was a really nice copy, so I was like, I'll do it. And I spent $100. It was just like I really wanted that issue. But like when you think of some of the comics over the years that I've found, probably overall I spent more than $100 on old comics before, but I just was like, that one's really, and it's still kind of pride and joy kind of thing.
Wish I still had that Spider-Man 50 laying right here. I could
just show that off. Yeah,
yeah, I bet you do, you prick.
It bums me out. We'll get to 3 He-Man related questions.
Yeah.
But it bums me. I just want to say this. It bums me out that Burt Reynolds hated
Boogie Nights.
I really like.
Really, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because him and Paul Thomas Anderson did not get along.
He did.
At all.
He liked it. I think many years later.
I would hope so, because that's like one of his best acting.
Like you have like his early stuff like Gator, Deliverance. Then you have the late 70s. Oh, and Mean Machine, fucking great movie. Then you have like 2 decades, if not 3 decades of, as much as I still
Smokey and the Bandit,
Cannonball Run,
Sharky's Machine. I thought was pretty good.
I always liked Hooper, the stuntman one.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Oh,
yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
Now over here, did you get the TV show he was on called Evening Shade, which was on in the I think probably the early 90s.
Early 90s,
yeah. It was a show. It was a staple in our house when it was on.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to Burt Reynolds, was Evening Shade.
But Boogie Nights is still like one of my favorite movies of all time. I remember my friends when that didn't see it at the cinema, but it was like on the cable one night. My friends and I were all around my friend's house, and it's like, well, hey, Boogie Nights is on. We're gonna get to see Heather Graham get a kit off. Literally watched the whole film. We were just like, that was a fantastic movie. We went in for the wrong reasons. Came out with like, what and the scene, like, to tie it back into He-Man. You're thinking how. A lot of the scenes that, I mean, I've been to the donut shop where the shoot happens, because that is just up the road from where Filmation used to be, like a 1-minute walk.
Man.
The car park where, Mark Wahlberg is going to do a bit of male escorting and that all goes wrong. That's in the car park next to Filmation.
What does he say? He's like,
it's 10. What is it? It's like the pricing. Is that what you're saying?
It's like 5 just to look at it and 10 to watch him.
That's it. Yeah, 10 was. We've all been there.
That was James. Much like you, that movie comes out 97.
Yeah,
I am 13 years old. That movie I felt like was just made for me in that time period at my age. And I'm going into it like, I already this, and this, right? And that stuff's there, but when you finish it, I was like, that was a good fucking movie. And
that's
then
a really good movie.
Years pass, and you're like, well, is this going to be one of those things I watched as a teen, and then I watch it later, and I'm like, that didn't hold up at all. But then you watch it, it's still a good fucking movie.
It's great. It's such a good movie.
I know
I
Tyler's
saw it the one time with Nathan. It didn't resonate with me at the time.
Man. Give it a shot. Oh, and also we've got to say, I remember like my friends and I were all sat there watching it. Like I say, we're falling in love with it. It's like, this movie's great. And then we lost our shit when he's like, you got the touch. We're like, it's doing Transformers the movie. It was it's nuts.
I always like that when they show the fake movie that they're doing.
Oh yeah.
What is it? It's like Angels.
I got something for you to suck on.
I can't remember the title, the title of it, but I think one of my other favorite parts too, Don Cheadle's character trying to sell the equipment, and he's just sitting there and
Studio
he's like propping
City,
up,
isn't it? Yeah.
doing like this whole thing, and they're not going to buy anything, and they leave, and he's just like,
The William H. Macy one shot as well. Goes to the party, goes back out, grabs the gun.
Yeah.
Does the smile. Happy New Year.
I remember laughing because I thought William H. Macy was just funny looking in the movie because his wife was always fucking, that one guy.
Oh, yeah, just the part where they're like doing it out in like the driveway, and he walks out there and everyone's just watching.
It's how normal it's supposed. It's like when he goes up and he's speaking to one of the other guys, and the guy goes, "What's up?" And he goes, "Oh, she's down there." And he's like, "Yeah." Anyway, it's just like,
we got to set up the shot and
that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh god.
Question from it's like there's no perfect segue from that.
No.
Oliver Belmont has a question. Tyler, besides Blade, Karg, Sauron, who among the evil warriors of your choice would you have picked for Skeletor's mercenaries in the 1987 live action film? Would Jitsu be one of them? I think Jitsu would have been a great choice because it would have been easy to costume.
Stylistically,
Yeah.
I as a kid, I always wanted to see Triclops and Cobra Khan. Those were always my go-to. But Jitsu and I feel like Ninjor would have been, but because Canon Films is all about the ninja movies. Like I feel like it would have been a norm to have a version of Ninjor and Jitsu in the film. So I was thrilled with what we got by far. But yeah, I think seeing Jitsu and Ninjor, because I think about the limitations, I think they would have been the easiest to translate to the screen because they're more human based and not necessarily relying on a lot of makeup and things like that too. So I think that would have been badass to see. I don't know who would have. I always want to cast Kerry Tagawa and everything, but I almost feel like Shokasugi. I think he's on the outs with Ken at the time, so I don't think he would have done it. But I thought he would have been a cool Ninjor. But Kerry Tagawa, I think, probably would have been a cool Jitsu because he always plays such a great bad guy. Super nice guy, but he's got to play Shang Tsung, and he was in Rising Sun, and he's in a very memorable episode of Miami Vice. Actually, two very, very memorable episodes of Miami Vice. But
didn't he show up on an episode of Step by Step too?
Probably. The guy's got so many credentials in terms of like things he's played on from TV.
Like he showed up, and I was like, "Holy shit, it's Shang Tsung!"
Shang Tsung.
Like, he's being all nice and stuff. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely Jitsu and Ninja, I think, would have been prime candidates for a live action appearance. And Triclops. Triclops, I think, would have been pretty easy to do too.
Question from Febmon. What episodes of Filmation's He-Man are important for She-Ra's history? I know the three with Modulok and Origin of Sorceress, but are there any others?
There really aren't any other tie-in episodes that would kind of relate to She-Ra that are
Origin of Sorceress is your main one, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
Origin of Sorceress is the bridge.
Yeah.
I talk about that in tomorrow's video, but literally it is the bridge.
Link down below. Sure.
I'd say, the three Modulok episodes, which I guess you got, the Mistaken Identity. You got
Happy Birthday.
Happy Birthday, Roboto. But then he doesn't appear only except in the cameo in Here There Skeletors Everywhere. It's not until Gateway to Trouble, when that's like a real bridge of like I'm quitting the Evil Wars and joining the Horde.
In terms of like when you think of episodes of Filmations here that are important to She-Ra's history, well, like you've got to say you could get into everything. Then you go, Teela's Quest because we see the origin of Queen Marlena, Rainbow Warrior because we see the moment King Randor and Queen Marlena meet. Randor and Marlena Glenn. You could any kind of flashback that's relevant to the history of Eternia is always going to be relevant to She-Ra because she's Eternian birthright.
She's royalty. She's part of the royal family.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it.
Because I don't think if you said something like, golden discs of knowledge, it's not really applicable because that's more to do with Skeletor, and plus that kind of confuses everything with the Horde being on Eternia anyway.
That's just not a very good episode anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like the kind of little origins of Skeletor built Snake Mountain, the knowledge he gained from the golden disc. That's pretty cool. But then obviously that's kind of
that's retconned is
slightly retconned because you could argue that Skeletor built Snake Mountain for Hordak, but that's clearly not what is inferred by golden disc of knowledge.
I kind of if you bring that up, I find it kind of hard to envision and believe like that was Hordak's base of operations at any point.
But it never. I mean, like. I understand why the Snake Men got so much in the 2002 show, where they were like, right, Snake Mountain originally belonged to the Snake Men. I really like that. It made all the sense in the world. Like, why would
the king of the Snake Men? Like they're entombed inside Snake Mountain there too in that mini comic, or King His is. So it makes perfect sense that there is a connection that was their original dwelling.
Yeah, it's our home, and it's really tricky. Going back to the original question, it's anything that's you can impart any kind of relevance, I guess, across both series. I said it. I say in my video tomorrow, past tense. I said in my video yesterday or whatever. Trying to work it out.
What year is it?
Yeah, it was the episode Reunions. I think is probably the most important episode of He-Man and She-Ra combined, because when you think what just the flashback, what happens in that flashback, what they establish, is literally the foundation and everything. Like I talk about it quite a bit, but I say like it's amazing when that flashback happens. It changes everything we knew about He-Man and Skeletor, because prior to Reunions, we always think of He-Man and Skeletor as like, oh, they're the two, hero and baddie, and they've been fighting this kind of never-ending battle. And then as soon as you see Reunions, it's like, oh, hang on a second, Skeletor wasn't always the dominant force. The Horde weren't always on Etheria. They were part of like this invading army in Eternia. We've seen the origins of Randor and Marlena before to some degree, but it's this one just like I specifically state that it adds kind of 20 years to the lives of Man-at-Arms, Randor, Marlena, and Skeletor. It's like all four of them. It's like, oh, hang on a second. Prior to Diamond Ray of Disappearance, if you want to say that's the first episode, this is everything that happened before, which is nuts. So yeah, that was my.
I agree. I mean, that's just taking that whole flashback sequence into context adds so much more layers to what you see in that first season of He-Man.
We were talking earlier, sorry to go back a bit, about Facebook, why you shouldn't engage with people on Facebook.
Oh, God.
So I said about the 40th anniversary of She-Ra, and someone in one of the groups commented, and it was them taking out their frustrations on modern media, gender swapping, this, that, and the other, and making it on a 1980s cartoon or brand. And it said He-Man was a victim of the typical, gender changing. He-Man was cancelled in order for She-Ra. And I said, right. So I just did this little paragraph. And I said,
oh, God.
I said, He-Man wasn't cancelled for She-Ra. I said, the toy line ran longer than She-Ra. I said, it ran past She-Ra. She-Ra had like a couple of years, and then She-Ra was cancelled. He-Man kept going, maybe one more year. I said, the cartoon. I said, He-Man wasn't cancelled. It ran at the same time as She-Ra for the last 32 episodes. I said, so He-Man wasn't cancelled to make room, as he said, for She-Ra. And I posted that reply, and then I think he must have said something like really well thought out, because immediately I looked later and I think someone had deleted the entire thread. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm sure he came back with like, oh yeah, I apologise, you're quite right. And probably like, just like, yeah, there we go.
See, and that's something that bothers me so much is that there are so many uninformed He-Man fans.
Oh yeah,
they saw walking around with their monocle and the top hat. Oh yes, I know everything about He-Man.
Well, it's because, darling, they stepped into a Walmart and saw the toys on shelves, so they know all about it now because they saw an Origins.
I buy Origins. I have every one of them. What do you
delightful. Oh, my Origins figure's so good.
Well, I got my case fresh at a Walmart. When did you get yours? I knew a guy in the back room. He just asked for a hand job and gave me a Jitsu. And that's the one I got.
I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
I didn't know that existed.
Sorry that we burst that bubble for you, James.
I mean, I knew that line was questionable at best.
Questionable? God, you're so polite.
He's trying to be nice. Come on.
You don't have to be nice here. You can be an asshole like I am.
One final question, and we'll wrap it up from Papa Hut 69. First, with the comment, it's always fun to see James on the show.
Thank you.
It is.
It's always great having him here. So, final question of this episode. In the episode Betrayal Stratos, the King of Demons stated that the door to Demon Zone is only to be opened 2 times a year in your own head canon. What would those 2 times of the year be?
Thanksgiving
and Easter.
Yeah, when Plundor's around. No, I don't know. You got to think of it in terms of like not a date, but like an Eternian event.
I almost thought like it's almost like whatever serves the purpose of the Demon Zone. Like whatever is keeping it, like it's almost like Krull's strength can only open those gates, which makes you wonder like, was it Hero? Was it the elders that sealed up the demon zone to prevent anything from getting out? And that Krull's strength and powers is only strong enough for one opening, then it closes, then he's got to, regain strength again, which would take, half a year to do that. I'm sure it would serve a purpose for Krull, whatever, because we don't get, as James has mentioned, I think. Didn't you did a commentary for Betrayal Stratus too, didn't you?
I don't think I have.
I could have sworn I thought you had mentioned too that even though it's called the Demon Zone, we don't actually see any, much like He-Man says, we don't see any demons. You see Whiplash's
that might just be, that sounds like my review for it. What did I give it? 1 star?
I'm joking. Yeah, I think you shit all over it like you do everything else.
I wasn't too bad with Betrayal.
No. You were respectful for it, but it's something that we just don't get to see explored much. But
Nathan's got the book out.
What's the production code for Betrayal Stratus?
78.
Let's see if you were right about that.
79 is
78. You got it.
79 Disappearing Dragons. 80 Shadow of Skeletor, 81 Arena, 82 Attack and Blow, 83 Into the Abyss, 84. No, I can't remember. Oh, Frady Cat.
Show off.
We'll just have to.
No. That's a curse. Trust me.
Oh, well, yeah. Betrayal of Stratos. Actually, Betrayal of Stratos. We've read this.
You and I actually did a discussion.
Read it out. Ago. And I'm not gonna read your review, but the score, there it is.
Oh, I Bret Harted it.
Yeah, you Bret Harted it.
What a
sorry,
dick.
guys. I had my reasons.
That's how we justify pissing all over my hush puppies.
Actually, much like James's submissions for his 40th anniversary She-Ra video out tomorrow, link down below. Go subscribe, Zero Geek TV.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, guys.
Parker, look, what's that? Matt Bird, question for you guys. How many She-Ra episodes did she have memory loss? He-Man had at least 6 times in the series, if I remember correctly.
How many times did He-Man lose his memory? Quest for He-Man.
Yeah.
I'm remembering.
And then Tale of Two Cities.
Tale of Two Cities. I think that's it. I'm also thinking of like mini comics, like the Rock People one.
Slave City.
Slave City. Yeah, obviously, yeah. And She-Ra lost her memory in Jungle Fever. I think that's it. And you could argue that she lost her memory prior to the She-Ra series because she was on the Shadow Weaver spell. But yeah, don't mind if I do. That's our new character. He's called.
I guess we're talking like what's his name from Gilligan's Island.
Oh yeah,
the voice of Mr. Magoo.
Yeah, Jim Brackus.
Yeah,
What the professor?
Yeah. I know
Harvard Lockjaw, I think it's called.
Or Tyler. To swing it back to Saved by the Bell, when the actor guy pretends to be the dude from Harvard.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mark Blankfeld. Yeah. Miss Billy Goat Cheese ham sandwiches. I represent Harvard.
Oh dear.
I attended school at Bay Dockview Side. Yeah. God, he should have been so many more episodes. He was so fucking funny. James, if you've seen Robin Hood Men in Tights, he's the guy who plays Blinken in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Were you Saved by the Bell? Were you into that at all?
No,
I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, it was heavily played over here, but it was kind of a little bit. I don't want to say it's after my time, but I just didn't.
James was into more California Dreams. Remember that shitty knockoff show?
What's that?
It was a knockoff of Saved by the Bell. But
how did it go? How did the beginning of that? Like serve dudes with attitudes.
I don't know.
Really groovy.
Yeah, it was just lame, and they were just in a band, and they go to school like, "Fuck you, you suck."
I remember the episode specifically. I can't remember the character's name, but he wore the leather jacket, and he was like the bad boy, and he was smoking cigarettes, and they're like, "You can't be doing that anymore." He's like, so he started chewing gum, and he was getting all mad about it. I always remember that episode, and then
I never watched it. I was like, "This show's trying to rip off Saved by the Bell." I'm not giving it.
I gave it a shot. Did you watch Hang Time Coming Together?
When Nathan sings, he sings it. Always is making fun. Like,
it's like it was like I think Reggie Theus was the coach on the show for like the first season, and then for whatever reason.
And then, no matter what it is, Nathan will always use that That same tone.
Yes, the
Yeah.
the rock dude kind of thing, like singing a song. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
very,
Well,
very
Nathan
Eddie.
sings. Nathan sings Pearl Jam.
Yeah, I was gonna
Eddie Vedder. Yeah,
Eddie Vedder, like,
Eddie
yeah.
Vedder, yeah.
But
Nathan would just do it. He would be driving to the next door and he's making fun of whatever's on the radio. It's just funny as hell. God.
yeah, anytime Better Man comes on, I always think of you, Tyler, and our DVD hunting trips.
Yeah, Nathan just doing it. It never got old. It's just,
You don't have those random themes popping in, like Hang Time pops in my head all the time, and then Say by the Bell, the College Years pops in my head all the time.
Song, yeah.
Yeah.
I stand at the edge of my rear.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got like Screech flexing.
Screech is like flexing in the camera there.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's my time to break away.
Just have a whole
Nathan can
episode
sing
where
it. It
Nathan
doesn't matter.
does that,
It could be the most, whatever, and Nathan will just sing it that way, and it's hilarious. All he's missing is palm in it,
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Well, on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap this episode up. I hope everyone enjoyed our deep dive into Jitsu and, of course, all of the other conversations along the way. Like this video if you haven't done so already. Leave a comment down below. Give us your thoughts on Jitsu, my singing abilities, your convention experiences. What else? Boogie Nights. Definitely.
Boogie Nights.
Drop
Turtles
some,
in Time.
Yeah,
Do you
any
like
of-
Pearl Jam?
any of that stuff. Also,
Does
subscribe.
California Dream suck balls? Yes, it does.
Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, check out James, the Serial Geek TV. Check out that
Absolutely.
40.
Subscribe
40th
to that.
Yeah, and pay more attention than what Tyler's been doing to the videos. To make sure
You
you
can't
do
find
He
a
will be
better man.
punished. He will be punished.
that. And until later, let the power return.
He was also a doctor. Performed a lot of unnecessary surgery.
Hey.
James.
Ghostbusters.
He was like, all right.
Yes.
He's plugged in. He just sits there.
I was like, I thought Tyler was like, oh, that's his favorite movie. He should know this.
Well, I was gonna keep going. If I go any further, it's too easy. So I was like hoping James.
Yeah.
I was like, James will know this. Nathan would be like, "What's this? Turtles?"
It sounds really familiar. It sounds like
Yeah.
Turtles.
I'm pretty sure April O'Neil said that. Talk about Shredder. Take
Thanks,
care,
James, for
everyone.
joining us.
Always a pleasure. Bye.
Phil, if you're gonna spew into this.